Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. My name is Jimmy Good, and I'm your host. And joining me this week is a very special guest, Sophia. Sophia, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you so much for being on here. Right before we started the show, I said, Sophia, I've been trying to get you on for a while. We've both been busy people. The last time we were on a show together was the #, Avengers Infinity War, full discussion, which went on for, I think it's still going on. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I could talk about that movie for hours. Hours. I recently rewatched it, and it's still so good. I noticed the little things where I'm like, that wasn't great. It's a funny part where by the end, when X dies, and people have seen it by now,
Sure,
and they're all standing mourning, and Scarlett Johansson is giving the worst acting performance of her life. She's like this. She's like, and she stands like that for a minute. It's so long. I just had to rewind. I'm like, why are you not moving? Nobody holds their stomach that's not how you react when people die. And it was just why did nobody, the focus was Captain America in the scene, but she was standing over him. So I just couldn't stop looking at her. Just standing there. Well, I felt bad for her because I'm like, that's not great. At least people probably won't notice.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're a student of film, so this sort of thing you look at now. So you're like,
oh no, student of film. That makes me sound so pretentious.
Oh, I don't mean it to sound that way. I say it as a compliment because it's I just look at it from a layman's point of view. I just critique things, but at the same time, I don't have any formal background or training. But yeah, I did notice that the first time too. I was like, is she holding her stomach? Is this supposed to be some sort of she isn't pregnant because she can't be pregnant? But I was like, why is she holding? I was like, what did you get damaged in the fight on your stomach?
God, film students are pretentious. That is you're gonna be. I used to critique films too, and to be fair, that's something that motivated me to study film because I was like, I'm critiquing these films, but I don't really know what I'm talking about. Kind of, it's all just preference and personal taste. But that is I love the parts of school where I get to write long analysis of movies.
Yeah.
And I recently did one on Alien versus Silence of the Lambs and the male gaze and stuff. I brought up the feminine mystique and all these texts. I love doing that stuff. That is my favorite essay to write. Just ramble on about motifs and crap like that. But if it's I don't know. It's not, if you don't like that, then you shouldn't do film studies.
Yeah.
Here's a quick tip. I like doing that stuff. That's film studies. If you like producing stuff, you do film production. But if you want to critique, you don't need to necessarily take film classes. What you're doing, watching films, that's how you learn that. But if you want to analyze films in a non-just here's a critique thing, it's helped me so much. But yeah, it's also, in the detriment of it is I notice tiny things I hate. I was in a script writing class and my teacher was we're talking about The Lion King. And she was like, well, Simba is really selfish. And we were like, what? And she's like, yeah, think about it. When Mufasa is talking about him, about the kingdom and this beautiful place, all he keeps talking about is, oh, all of this is mine. And he takes Nala on this dangerous thing he wasn't supposed to, and then he just runs away. And she was like, my teacher was like, how horrible was Simba because he left his mom who just lost her husband.
Yep.
He just left. And we all sat there oh no, I could never watch it the same again. But then his character arc, right, is comes back and he becomes a good person. But yeah, it does ruin certain things.
Yep. That's definitely true. And then you look at especially Lion King in that case too, it just happened to be that there was a famine or a drought during Scar's reign, and it wasn't when he took over, he's no more water for anyone. It was just
I know.
Sorry, it was a bad time, buddy. You start to, as an adult, you could pick it apart. As a kid, you're like, man, it really sucks that Mufasa's dead, man. That's too bad.
I kind of wish I still had some of that innocence in me where it's I just watch a movie and like it because whatever. Yeah. Which I think is sort of, especially now Halloween's coming up and with horror films and stuff, I hate that I'm so overcritical of horror movies because they're supposed to be silly fun.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
And I think obviously there are some movies produced now, I don't know why, It's there's a movie on Netflix called The Boy that
I feel like I've heard of it.
it's so bad. It's not even camp bad. It's just there's a YouTube channel that I love called Pretty Much It, where they make audio commentaries over movies or TV shows.
Oh, cool.
And they were watching The Boy. That's where I found it. And I was like, I have to watch this, like the full thing. And the ending, especially, it's so, you just wasted. I've never felt such a waste of my time. Like, it was awesome to watch it with their voices over because we're all sort of together laughing at it.
Yeah.
But the ending is just so unsatisfying. It's so bad. It's not even like you're waiting for this like haunting or whatever to show themselves finally, and it's just like half-assed, like, yeah, let's it's okay. It's not even a spoiler because I wouldn't waste my time on it unless you're with a group of people and you want to have fun.
Yeah.
The ending is just so kind of like just okay. And then it kind of just like ends. Oh, it's so bad. It's not even so bad. It's good. It's just the kind of horror movie where I'm like, yeah, but I'm rambling. What was my point? Yes, my point was I have no problem with like Annabelle coming out and all these like horror movies because it's horror. You're supposed to be jump scared and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
When you study film and get kind of critiquing or like critical of it, you kind of end up hating those movies, which sucks because I used to love those movies. They were crappy movies, like I Know What You Did Last Summer, or all those like terrible slashers with like young people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The 18-year-olds kind of that are 35. Like, yeah,
the high school seniors, but yeah, they're like 25.
Yeah.
And like I used to love those movies, but imagine if that came out now. Yeah. I'd be like, oh, it's so bad. But like back then, hell yeah, it was awesome because I didn't care. But yeah, I love campy horror. I think it's good. It's not easy to critique because it's enjoyable, but it sucks. Some of it.
That's true. And then it's hard because, like, you know, when you're watching these things, like from a logical, like calm standpoint, you're like, why don't you just go over there? And they go to the like the opposite, like horrible place that's just full of chainsaws. And they're like, well, it's a better movie if they're dumb because it's not a movie, you know, if they're not. Sometimes. I think
I have like the sort of argument in my head when it comes to those kind of movies is that that is sort of what you need when it is a campy horror. Because I mean, as an audience member, that makes you feel good about yourself, right? Because you're like, I would survive this.
Yeah,
what did they do? Because I mean, what would it be like if people were rational, right? In those campy movies, if they were rational, say Evil Dead, for example, the original, they would just leave. Just be like, okay, let's leave. And then that's it. End of the movie, right?
Yep.
But I think I think that's like the difference between a campy horror and like a actually good horror movie. And I mean, we could do the example of Evil Dead, right? The remake that came out in 2013, I believe, had a valid reason as to why they were there. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have not.
But so basically, yeah, the original is kind of, you know, the classic Sam Raimi. They're in a cabin and then, you know, demonic stuff starts happening, right? And you keep thinking, just leave, and they don't. In the new one, the premise is the main girl in the film, she needs to detox off drugs. And so they took her to this cabin in the middle of nowhere to get her off drugs. And when she starts seeing stuff, they're like, we're not leaving. You're just hallucinating because you're off the drugs.
Okay.
So it makes sense why they're staying in the middle of nowhere and not going anywhere. And by the time they figure it out, it's kind of too late to go. There's like a flood because it started raining when they got there. And so it's like, oh, we can't go anywhere. And I think that's so important with horror movies, like good horror movies, is that it's like the writer's thinking about the human stuff first and then throwing the horror into it. Yeah. So it's like they're going this place and staying this place and doing this because of the whatever human drama that's going on. Plus here's a monster or here's the thing that happens.
Yeah, for sure.
So
totally.
It's like, yeah, like The Conjuring was cool because this family was living in a house. They couldn't afford to move, but it was haunted. Like, okay. So they're living in this house. They can't do anything else.
Yeah.
And then they go to a motel, but still like stuff happens. They can't, you know.
They can't escape it.
Yeah, they can't escape it. But there are a lot of movies where it's like, yeah, just leave. Just go. Just call the police. Just do something. It's like and unless you do that with humor, it's dumb.
Yes. Yeah.
like
Yep.
The Boy.
Don't watch The Boy. That's what we're getting.
Watch it if you want to watch how not to do horror.
Okay.
Because it's very much like, here's the jump scare you see a mile coming. It's just like, oh, a doll turns his head. Ah!
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's constant. Why don't you just leave?
Sure.
She's an au pair or whatever, and it's like you could literally just leave whenever you wanted to. And it's just she stays. She's like, oh, but I have to.
And you're like, why? Like you brought up one that I kind of like came to mind for me right away, but that was Alien. Is that like the premise I think is pretty stupid in the fact that it's like this engineering cargo ship and they're like, hey, could you like stop off at this planet and check this out? But like once the terror starts, they can't really leave. There are like like emergency craft they could get on, but the problem is this thing is seemingly everywhere. And every time one of them goes away, they just are gone. And you're like, what are we going to do? Like, we can't just leave because if we try to do that, he's going to kill us. So, that's why, man, that one, oh boy, that one gets me. That's still a really good one.
I actually saw it for the first time this summer.
Cool.
Yeah,
what did you think?
Oh my God. I mean, I analyzed it for a class. It's incredible. I think, and like the class I'm analyzing for is women in film. So what is interesting about this movie is it starts off like she and Lambert, the two women, they mean nothing to the plot, right? Yep. It's all about Dallas. He's the guy who's controlling it. The camera follows him. He is the guy. And their demo, they're just like in the corner for the first half. But then, once we see like she's like, don't come in the ship because of the contamination, and that gets broken. And then, when Ash tries to assault her, that's when everything changes, right? He even assaults her with like a porno magazine. Like it's such a strong symbol of the male gaze and how like, because it's like just I'm just strangling you with this objectifying of women in a way. And that's when everything changes, right? She starts to become the hero. And what is really cool about it is, by the end where she like strips down, everybody's like, why are you in your underwear? And a lot of people critique that, right? Because it's like the male gaze. It's okay, suddenly she's a sex object. But I kind of argue the opposite because it is critiquing the male gaze in that we all feel uncomfortable with her suddenly being a sexual object. Like that's the critique. It's like, why would we do this in other movies? It doesn't make any sense, but that's what we do, right? And the entire movie, it goes from, Dallas is the chief. She's taking over. She's showing, that she has all the skills and capabilities to survive. The Bechdel test was made based on Alien because Lambert,
really? I didn't know that. Cool.
in the original cartoon, they talk about let's go see Alien or whatever. Because Lambert and Ripley, they talk about stuff that's nothing to do with men. Like they have their own conversations. It's just about the ship and their skills, right? And so it's like it's incredible how this movie that was directed by Ridley Scott and it's got male writers, still they were like, we're gonna make this critique, and it's just really cool. Just like, they didn't make her less feminine. They didn't make her just like, I am such a tomboy. It's just, she's a woman, period. She's her own thing. And Lambert is her own thing. And it's just like, oh, it's such a cool movie. And it's such a good horror.
Yeah.
And it's like, I got to watch that before Halloween.
It's good. Like you make a really good point, especially like you're saying at the end there where she strips down. I think of that scene and seeing that again kind of recently, and that like in most movies nowadays, like the worst one I think maybe is like Star Trek Into Darkness. They turn around when this young woman's changing and she's just like, in her underwear and she's like, what? And she's like pretty and sexy and perfect. But like in this case, Sigourney Weaver has survived this like horrible experience. She's like sweaty and just like, I need to lay down. I'm just a human right now. And I don't like really want to talk to anybody. Just give me the cat and let me just sleep, because this thing, like even when you thought it was done, it wasn't done. Like,
and then it makes everybody uncomfortable because like we identified with Dallas in the first half, or like we wanted to be him and he was in charge, right? We are now her and we identify with her and we want her to win, and suddenly we're like, whoa, why did you do that to her? What the hell? Why couldn't you just wear pants? Like, what the hell, Ridley? And then it's like, oh, maybe that was the point, to show how often we do that stuff, to like just stop it because it's unnecessary. Like she can be whoever she wants.
Yep.
Because it's like, when she like bends over to reach, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, why is this happening? It was so weird. But I read a book the last name is Grevin, and this is a book about horror, American horror heroines, and it talks about Silence of the Lambs and all these movies, and how like that's like part of the thing, right? It's a transformation that both Will Ripley and Clarice Sterling in Silence of the Lambs go through, you know, of like, okay, all the men are looking at, well, in Silence of the Lambs case, right? It's like all the men are looking at her and they're like, oh, and then Lecter is kind of the helper of Clarice because he says, hey, be careful with Crawford. He probably wants to do other stuff. And that's when she starts noticing like, oh, this dude is kind of creepy. I'm going to stay away from him. And then she becomes her own person. And Lecter is never creepy to her. Like he apologizes for the guy who says this nasty stuff. And it's like, he's like guiding her and being like, you got to be careful because these people are trying to make you look a certain way or stand in your way. So screw them. And it's just like, oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Horror movies have some incredible characters in them, but also really terrible ones.
Yeah, that's the problem is like for every good horror movie and horror movie character, there seems to be like 1,000 really bad ones. So it's like really hard to find the best of the best. Sometimes you're like, oh, there's so many coming out and they're all kind of garbage. But then you find one that's really good and people hold it up and they're like, just hold on to it for like 5 years.
Exactly. You know? I'm really excited to see the new Halloween. I don't know. Are you going to see it?
I've told people this, Sophia. I don't mind telling you this either. I'm a big scaredy. I saw The Ring when I was pretty young, and to balance it out, my mom rented 9 to 5 for me. Which, if I don't know if you're familiar with that film, it's like a 1970s or 80s, like all these like assistants of this boss guy like tie him up in his office and take over his company. So it's supposed to be like a fun like yeah, the ladies are taking over. Like,
oh god, I hate those movies.
It was like, but it's supposed to balance out the terrifying little lady that kept crawling out of TV screens and trying to ruin my life.
Everyone's life at that time.
Yeah, pretty much that. But yeah, I've seen, a few things here and there. I like for monster movies for me, I mean, like Jurassic Park is maybe some of the closest I get to like a monster movie because Michael Myers, I guess, in Halloween, you consider that kind of a slasher, maybe not a pure monster film.
I would say slasher, yeah. Although he is kind of supernatural, I guess, in that he never dies.
Yeah, exactly. He's kind of in that like Jason Voorhees area where you're like, is he a monster? Just slasher movie. But I got a buddy.
Sorry, I interrupted you. I just remembered Freddy versus Jason is like my guilty pleasure. That movie is so incredible. People are like, oh, but like it's so bad. And like, yeah, in the beginning, that woman who shows her boobs and it's like, that's like an example of like objectification, right? She's just there to be hot, whatever. But it's just all a joke. And I'm like, it's Freddy fighting Jason. It's so rad. And people are like, no, but it's bad. That's a good one. Watch it. Oh, so great.
I think I know the ending of that film, but I also, in that vein, I like the first Alien versus Predator. It's not great, but I just like watching those two characters. And that movie is like supposed to be serious, and that's why it's even funnier when dumb things happen because you're like, they're all taking it so seriously, and there's like a budget behind this, and oh man, like too funny. But yeah, it's, basically to answer your question in a longabout way, is probably not. But I have a friend who kind of is my horror guy who's like, I'm going to see it tonight. And I was like, oh, man, you have fun with that. Let me know how it goes. Because the trailer actually looked interesting to me. So are you going to see it?
Oh, probably. I don't know if I'll see it in cinema because I'm so busy with everything. I hope that I have time to go see it. I still have like so many movies I have to catch up on. I'm going to watch Hereditary before Halloween. I promised myself to do that.
A lot of people are talking about that.
I love all the movies that they produce. I don't know. I'm a big fan of that kind of horror that is not jump scary. I don't like seeing jump scares in cinema because it's too loud. It's just annoying.
Sure.
I'll jump at home, but like not in the cinema. But yeah, like The Witch, for example, that was a great horror. I love that movie so much.
Oh yeah, I've actually seen clips of it.
Yeah, it's not jump scary. It is just creepy and you feel uncomfortable and it's about, mysterious things, which is horror. It's just not every 5 minutes, which I'm very into. I heard this Hereditary was pretty gnarly though. So
yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard it stayed with me for a long time, and I was like, I don't know if I can do that. I'm into it, and I recently watched It too, the remake. Oh really? Okay, nice. Did you like it?
Oh yeah, I thought it was great. I thought I'm always very critical to movies with kids because actors that are kids are usually pretty terrible.
Yeah,
and
it can be tough.
I'm not blaming them. I'm blaming bad directors who are afraid of going to kids and saying, you suck, get it together. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say it like that, but like it feels often like directors don't guide child actors well enough.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause they can be good actors, but some of them need help. Obviously, it's a scary thing to do, and I think both with Stranger Things and with this movie, I mean, one of the boys from Stranger Things is in this, but they're all so good. They're all so good. I really like how they. I like Skarsgård's clown Pennywise. I love.
Okay.
I like his interpretation because it's not imitating Tim Curry's.
It's his own thing.
Yeah, it's his own thing, and he does this crazy thing with his eye, which apparently is real. Like he makes his eye go all crazy, and apparently he could do that in real life.
Wow.
So it's so creepy. And his smile, it's so good. It's not, and I also like it's similar to the original, and that's not scary. It's not like, whoa, I'm horrified. It's creepy.
Sure. Yeah, it's got like a mood to it.
It keeps the sort of campy mood of like it's a clown.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably scary for like people under 18.
Sure. Yeah.
Under 15.
And me. I mean, and me. I'm in that
I think
group.
you'd survive it. You'd survive it for sure. It's not
I'll
that
survive
bad.
anything. It would stay with me. It would be a scar, Sophia. A scar on my heart. No, I would live.
Are you scared of clowns?
No, I don't think I'm afraid of clowns.
Yeah, me neither.
The only thing I'm afraid of is commitment, and they haven't made that into. I did it. That's one of my favorite jokes. Okay, so you like horror. Does this like bleed into other things? Like, do you like listening to like creepy, weird music, or like playing weird, scary video games? Like, does that?
So I mean, I listen to black metal. Not as much as I did before because, like, lying on the beach in LA listening to black metal is not. It doesn't work that way.
That's so great. Oh
but
my
like
gosh.
in Norway, obviously, when I'm home, it's snowing and cold and disgusting, and that makes you kind of pissed off. Just somebody's calling me, and I'm just gonna pretend that didn't happen.
You're so popular.
No, people call. It's like a hidden. It's like a number I don't know, and I've gotten too many fake calls. I just can't bother. I think when you're in a weather situation that is cold and disgusting, and you just get angry. You're just like and then like that music is it feels like such a release. But here, not so much. So I guess creepy, scary metal music, I don't listen to too much. Although I recently listened to a lot of Marilyn Manson. I just got into a phase.
Yes,
but
I love him. He makes the best remakes of songs, like Tainted Love, and oh my gosh, I love Sweet Dreams. I'm like, you're really good at this, man. Like, I was
more of a fan before. I've seen him 3 times in concert, and
cool.
The last time was pretty terrible.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the first time was really great. That was during Heart Shaped Glasses era, so that was pretty good. I saw him with Rob Zombie, and Rob Zombie was he was like the warm up, and I was like, whoa, is that really? But yes, Rob Zombie is, if Marilyn Manson's here, he's like over here. When it comes to like performance, he's so much better. He was like running around this massive arena and still singing, and I'm like, how are your stamina? Manson was like barely standing. The last one, he was too drugged up. He seemed very like shaky, but it was a cool concert because I got like, me and Twiggy were like constantly making eye contact, and he gave me his guitar picks. I was like, yeah.
Whoa, cool.
That was like the only good part about that concert. But yeah, back to your question. Yeah, creepy games. Honestly, I hate scary games. I can't. Okay. I am all about scary movies. I'll watch them all day. Scary games just get too real.
Okay, fair enough.
Which is weird. I can't, like, I played PT. That literally made me not want to. It was so funny because I played it. The first time I played it was actually, I don't remember what year it was, but it was January 1st. So I woke up. My birthday's New Year's Eve, so I was tired of New Year's Eve. I was pretty, out of it. And it was me and a buddy on the couch, and we were just kind of laying there. We were just like, should we play a game? Yeah, it was 3 of us. We were 3 of us just laid there, pretty hungover, pretty tired, waiting for pizza. And I was like, let's play PT. And what I didn't know was that my boyfriend at the time had started playing and was like in the middle. I didn't know that. So I start, and 3 seconds in, that woman jumps out. And I had it was the worst. We all just like, I remember him coming back. She's like, are you guys okay? And we're like, you didn't tell us. You started the game 3 seconds in, and we have the jump scare of like, oh man, it was bad. I played it again after that, but that was too real. Too real.
Yeah, I've got it on my PS4 still. I still have to try it out. I haven't tried it out yet.
You haven't tried it out? Oh, you have to. It's gonna scar you for life, but it's great.
I'll stream it. It'll be great. I can scar it and people can witness it, and it'll be great.
I mean, your PS4 is gonna be worth something then, since you have it installed.
Yeah, exactly. One of these days on the PS5. But the problem is, like, I love my PS4 games, and PlayStation's not really in the backwards compatibility business. So, like, I can't ever sell it because Sony will be like, "You'll never play Spider-Man again."
I know. That's so like I'm so happy that I still have my PS2 because I can play on my PS1 games.
Oh yeah.
Which is just like, I go home and I always play like Tekken 2 and Spyro, like all the. I'm so excited about Spyro. That's like the only game I'm trying. I got a lot of stuff to do. I got work and then school, and I don't have time to like dive deeply into single player games.
Yeah.
I have to save them. But Spyro
remaster.
I got this the other day. Look at, and then I got and it came with look at them.
Adorable.
That's like the best pop figures I have gotten. I have a lot of pop figures. I take them out of the box because I don't know, they're decorations.
Yeah, exactly.
I like them as decorations, not collectibles. Yeah, that's a game. But yeah, I just remember like the backward compatibility thing is like such a shame because even though I'm excited for this Spyro, there's just something incredible about the original. Just sitting down and like starting up the PS2. I have a PS1 too, but the PS2 is just yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Yep, we actually just did a PS2 stream recently. One of our lovely patrons sent in 2 games to us, and starting that back up, and that just like that screen they put you on and that sound it makes, it's just like, ooh, baby. Like it does take me back. And PS2, like if N64 is my favorite of all time, PS2 is pretty close because like there's so many good games on that console. Like it's ridiculous, like how many incredible games were on there, and the PlayStation 1 compatibility. Like
yeah, exactly. And it played DVDs. It was perfect.
It did everything. It was just like
everything. CDs. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And I had like the slim little one. Oh
yep,
my
me
god,
too. I put a rock on it to make sure that the lid stays down.
Oh, you have that problem?
Yeah, I do. It's one of those things, but we made it work. I love that we started talking about like creepy games, and then like Spyro was what we got into, which is good. But yeah, for anyone else like who doesn't know who you are there any other like just games, not necessarily scary, but like games, movies, TV, anything that you love that you'd be like, this is me, I'm Sophia, and I love this.
Ooh. I mean, Overwatch, first of all, because my apartment is, I'm looking at an Overwatch calendar. I got Overwatch pop figures. I got Overwatch notebook. It's a big part of my life. But I feel like I play a lot. I don't play a comp because I can't handle the pressure. But I mean, I feel like I'm more into the league, like watching the esports more than playing these days, which is something I love. I wish I could just do it for a living. It would be incredible. I love just analyzing matches and doing that stuff. But yeah, I do play that. I play Magic Arena a lot. I got into Magic the Gathering about a month and a half or 2 months ago. I got so many decks. It is dumb. both on the game and in real life.
Cool.
I recently built a deck around Yilish Norn, which is this awesome character that gives every card -2/-2, and my card's +2/+2.
Whoa, cool.
And she has vigilance, and she's like a 4/7. She's it's the best card, and it's just like almost it can be a board wipe. I don't know if people listening to this are even interested in Magic the Gathering, but it's a good card.
Yeah,
it's a great card.
Yeah.
And so I love doing that. I love what other games do I like? I like usually single player games, actually, more so than except for Overwatch. And like this Magic Arena. I'm into stuff like Journey, for example, one of my favorite games of all time. LA Noire is another favorite of mine. GTA 5 not online.
Yes, yeah.
I could not deal online. I love the story. I played the story. I mean, I finished it on Xbox and PS4. Xbox 360 and PS4, and then I played part of it on the computer as well. So I love GTA 5. That was like, because I don't know why, it just like opened my eyes to those types of games. I played Vice City back in the day, but it never stuck with me. But this was just so real. And that was back before I moved to LA. So it was like, oh my God, I want this so much. And I did it and it was incredible. So I like those types of games. I like Left 4 Dead is like the only like scary game, I guess. In a way that I love Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. They are probably my favorite games because I played them so much.
So good. Good picks. Who did you play as in Left 4 Dead? Not that it matters.
Coach
yes.
for sure.
Coach,
because it was so funny. Back when I used to watch The Walking Dead, I don't really do that anymore. I just remember, I forget the name of the character, but I heard his voice and I'm like, what the hell I've seen. And I play Left 4 Dead. I'm like, oh my God, it's Coach.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
Coach is in Left 4 Dead and in The Walking Dead, which is so cool. And he was like that. He became my favorite character immediately. I was like, oh my God, it's Coach.
Coach, that's sweet.
I love Coach. I love the part in Left 4 Dead where he sings on the stage.
Yes. Oh, I think I remember that.
Good one.
Okay.
Yeah, in one of the levels in the, I think it's the like circus carnival.
Yeah.
Level. Yeah.
Roller coaster.
Yes. So I love that. I love horror movies. You talk about TV. You said TV.
Yeah, or whatever. I mean, whatever you want people to know.
TV is very weird for me because I go through series and I just half a year later I don't know if I liked it or not.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Where it's
like
Channel Zero, for example. I'm starting the new season right now, but back when I first watched it, I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. But then after a month, I kind of forgot about it a little bit.
Sure.
So, there's too many shows, first of all. I can't.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, there's too many
It's ridiculous. But in terms of those, I mean, I was into Westworld. Not sure if I am as much anymore. I think it went a bit too overboard.
I'm totally with you.
But still, the first 3 or 4 episodes of the first season were just like incredible. I've watched a lot of Grey's Anatomy lately.
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
Guilty pleasure. I love it. It's so dramatic. Everybody's a cheater. Everybody sucks. Makes me feel like a better person. Also, surprisingly good on representation.
Oh, really?
Like,
okay.
For an older show, it has men and women of all different colors, shapes, and sizes. Episodes are pretty old that dealt with like trans issues that you'd never think you'd see. They have a very prominent lesbian couple. Like, it's really like diverse, and I was like, wow, they were like ahead of their time. Everybody's been talking about like Modern Family, and I'm like, look at Grey's Anatomy. They were doing this. They were doing this for so long. What are you talking about? They have biracial couples with a kid. It's like the same thing. What are you talking about? But so I've been watching that a lot, and I watched the 3 first episodes of The Handmaid's Tale, and I'm horrified.
Okay, I've heard that's kind of messed up.
It is. People should watch it, but it's intense. It is fitting of October because it's horrifying.
Okay, fair enough.
Which is just it's very weird, but it is horrifying in that sense. And I don't know what else people should know about. Oh, fun fact. I don't really like animated movies.
Really? Okay, like is there like just all animated films or specific ones?
I mean, I like the things I saw back when I was a kid, like The Lion King and Peter Pan, the not princessy movies. I hated the princessy movies. They were I did not approve of them. I guess because I was very fortunate to grow up in a home where my mom wanted me to choose how feminine or not I wanted to be.
Sure.
And growing up, I was a tomboy. I wore, boys' Adidas clothes. And, I didn't really care about, I played soccer, I guess, for you guys.
Football.
It's football. Damn Americans with their soccer. And so I wasn't into princesses, was into like Toy Story. But I mean, there are certain movies, Incredibles, great movie.
Yeah.
Have not seen the second one.
I was going to ask you about that, but if you haven't seen it, then you can't.
Honestly, the reason I couldn't see it was because I'm epileptic and all the warnings came out that I couldn't see it. I thought, and the thing is, I'm not a photosensitive epileptic, so I don't really have seizures. But, as a supportive fellow epileptics who cannot see this movie, I was very disappointed. I keep thinking, what about kids? Like the fact that they needed white and, white flashing lights what was that mind process? They are eliminating a lot, not even epileptics, people who get headaches. Like a lot of people can't deal with strobe lights. And putting that in the kids movie, I was kind of like, even if I weren't epileptic, I'd probably not go, just
Yeah.
because I think that is just a weird decision to put that in there. You could put flashing lights of other colors. You could put, not as frequent flashing lights. It is a very weird choice. And the fact that they didn't warn people beforehand, I think is very irresponsible.
Sure.
So-
Well, and like as someone who saw the film, it isn't something that they do like. It's not overly used, but I could still see where like you think somebody somewhere would have said that to them because
Yeah.
it's only like a brief moments, and if you see it, what it usually does is it'll cut to a character who is witnessing it and then getting brainwashed, so it's not like right in your face the whole time.
Yeah.
I still understand what you're saying, so it's like
Yeah.
it's still a good movie. It's still really good. I gotta say that, but yeah, it's unfortunate.
I mean, yeah, I can't wait to see it because I will survive it. I will not
Yeah.
react to it. But I mean, it's like for people who have serious, photosensitivity,
Yeah.
a second can be enough. Which is why it's like, and I've experienced before. I actually went to see a movie in a cinema here in LA, and I don't remember what movie it was. And the reason I wanted to go and see it was because it was about a woman struggling with epilepsy, and I'm like, that's a cool movie. Maybe I'll relate or whatever. And I came in, and part of the movie is her going through the tests they take to see if you have seizures or not. And I was like, and it started flashing like crazy, and I had to leave the cinema. And there was no warning anywhere. And I was like, I went out and I was like, I need a glass of water or something. And the dude was like, are you okay? The dude working there. I'm like, you're showing a movie about epilepsy, which probably a lot of epileptics want to go see because that issue is not always talked about. And the movie has that in it where they test it. I was like, that's like so ridiculous. And like, they put it on the website afterwards, I think, because I complained like crazy. I'm like, it's like a PG-13 movie.
Oh,
it could
weird.
be dangerous.
Yeah.
It could be dangerous for people.
Jeez, yeah. Well,
I think it might have actually been an R movie. Regardless, it's just, yeah. I just thought it was a pity with The Incredibles because parents, even though their kids might not get anything out of, get a seizure, parents will not take them, obviously. They'll be afraid of taking your kid there. Even parents who just hear strobe lights will think, that's not nice. I'll watch that at home,
Yeah, that's true. And like I said, they started putting out warnings for it. Like I remember going back because I was in the theaters a lot this summer, and I remember seeing like little signs for it popping up, and I was like, oh, I guess now that you mention it, that could be a problem. I'm just kind of surprised that Disney didn't catch it, but maybe that was one of those things that I thought, all right, like here, movie looks great. Didn't see anything wrong with it. Nothing like too like more than PG or anything. Maybe that's what they're scanning for, and they weren't thinking about this in particular. Because like we go and see or I see a lot of bombastic films all the time, and like I wouldn't necessarily say like you should see Avengers Infinity War if you also suffer from this stuff, because some of those fights you might be like, oh my gosh, like it might mess you up. Like
I think it's like, I mean, you have the warning when you just start your PS4, right?
Oh yeah, every game.
I mean, there are different people with different types of epilepsy. People don't understand that. I think everybody thinks epilepsy is you get seizures from flashing lights. It's not true. Some people get it just from stress. Some people get it any flashing lights. Some people don't get it. But the thing is, like, white strobe light is like the one thing that they use to test you, regardless. Even if you just have like stress-related epilepsy, that's what they use. So the fact that like Infinity War has a lot of blinking and whatever, but it's usually like red or green or purple or whatever. But like the fact that they use strobe light, I'm like, was there not one person who said, should we do this, guys?
Yeah.
It's a kids movie. Children with epilepsy usually have it a lot harder than adults.
Sure.
Usually people, who get it as an adult, they get it in their teen years. They don't get it so if you're born with it, that's a pretty serious, those kids usually have, 5 seizures in a row. They usually go through the very hard ones, whilst people who get it when they're older might not have a serious type of, look at this, we're like teaching people about epilepsy.
Yeah, this has become educational. That's good.
I mean, yeah, it's different types and different, but I mean, if I had a kid and I heard there were strobe lights, maybe I'd be like, we'll watch it at home and not on a big screen, because that can be, anybody can get a headache.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately they did a lot of it as like a theming with the times because like there's this weird like Incredibles is kind of set in the past but also set in the future, so they do like the kind of black and white swirl, and that's what they show as like kind of like a flash of that. So they're kind of going after like the old school like kind of like mind brainwashing sort of thing, which that's the problem. Is like they're probably like, this fits thematically perfectly.
Yeah.
However, like, you know, different time. We got to think about other people. But I hope you can see it one day and you could be
will. God, we rambled so far away from do I like animated movies or not? But I do like animated movies in just very few of them because I don't know. I just don't like animated. I guess it's just like, I just outgrew it for some reason. And I like, The Incredibles was awesome. Wreck-It Ralph was okay. I'm more interested in a new one because of all the princesses being all revamped. I'm so into that. That's awesome. But like I didn't see Coco. I didn't see Moana.
Okay.
Frozen was not. I didn't see it, but I ended up going to the thing at Disneyland. They have like a show, and I just sat there like, I'm not. This is. I'm sorry. When people, I have a love-hate relationship with musicals.
Okay.
Like I love Grease, I love Hair, I love Rocky Horror Picture Show, but I get very uncomfortable when people start singing out of the blue.
Okay, fair enough.
Even just like around me, I'm just like, why are you singing? It's just like karaoke. I'm like, ugh. I love people singing. I love it. But
why you hate these?
That's why I'm like I got through like half an hour of Les Mis, and I'm like, I can't.
You're like, they're so sad and they're singing. This makes no sense.
They're singing like, how are you? And I'm like, no.
I think
say it.
If you want to get into musicals, you can't start with Les Mis because Les Mis is everything is sung, and I agree with you there. It is hard when it's like, I went and picked up the marker, he picked up the marker. Like it's like, what? No, don't. Why? It takes away from like the point of the song if constant singing is there. For me personally, it's just like, oh my gosh. So I get you.
Are you into musicals? No.
I do like musicals.
Oh, cool.
Like I like more of the classical ones, like Sound of Music. I really like. It's just like old school. I like West Side Story. There's some really fun stuff in there, even though like dance fighting is just an interesting concept to me, especially when like they bring out their knives and they're like little baby knives and they're like throwing themselves onto knives, and I'm like, oh gosh, guys, I love you, but and I grew up with the Disney films, so those, I think you could consider a lot of them musicals because a lot of the plot and characters are like shown through music. So I do, and the producers might be more the most modern musical that I really enjoy, but that's because it kind of talks about being in the music, like, or trying to stage a play as a joke. I don't know if you probably hate it, but
I don't know. The last musical I tried to watch was probably La La Land, and I did not finish it.
See it. Okay.
I wanted to see the first half because I knew the choreographer and I'm a big fan of her work as a dancer. So I was just like, I'm going to watch the first half because apparently, the first beginning, because they like shut down like the I-10 or something, like something crazy to dance on cars. So I'm like, that's cool. But then once they got to like singing and stuff, I'm like, I'm out. The dancing was awesome, but it's the same with like Fame. I love the dancing in that, and but that was, that takes place in a school for the arts. And it makes sense that they're singing and dancing all the time.
Yeah, that's true. But, I think last time I saw was Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman, and I think he's just, I know you didn't watch all of Les Mis, but he's just an incredibly talented singer, and it's so great to have people who only know him as like the Wolverine, like over here, and then be like, but he can sing and dance, and like he's just dancing and singing, and people are like, what? Like,
of course I actually saw him sing at the Oscars. That's where I saw him sing.
Yeah, he
hosted the Oscars. Him and Anne Hathaway was like their audition. I feel like for Les Mis, they were both singing there like years before Les Mis came out, and I was like, these two are pretty good.
Yep. Well,
I like that we're talking about stuff that was like so old.
Yeah,
we're
that's
not talking about anything that's recent.
That's
what has happened? What has happened recently that we can talk about?
We can. It's whatever. Is there anything recently that you've seen that you really love? The
Glass trailer.
Oh, you're into that. To the Shyamalan stuff, or Shyamalan.
No, I mean, I'm not. It's a funny thing because I love The Sixth Sense, but I also really like Signs, which I know a lot of people don't like. I just think it's really cool. It's well acted. It's so well acted.
Yeah.
That scene where Joaquin Phoenix is in the closet and that dude walks by in the camera, or like still scares the hell out of me.
He does he sells that scene so well.
And I wish they didn't show the aliens at the end, but it is a really good horror, and I think it gets a lot of it gets a bad rep for no reason.
Yeah.
Just like the shadows and the TV. There's so many cool shots in it, and like I'm super into science. That's super into science. But it deserves credit. And I think also Split was pretty good. It was not the best movie I've seen, but you know, his performance, what's his name?
James McAvoy.
Yeah, his performance was enough for me to have a good time. Didn't really care about the 3 chicks. I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. But they didn't really have any personality. I didn't root for them, which sucked. I wish I rooted for, the main girl, but I couldn't because there was nothing there. I was rooting for him more than anything else. I'm like,
Sure.
Wow, look at him. But Glass looks incredible. I hate that I'm so hyped because
It's good that you're hyped though.
I'm happy to see Samuel L. Jackson in a role that's not Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, not just him.
He's always, the past few movies, he's always cursing and saying, all that, the norm, even in Avengers, in the end where I was like, no, don't. He's always himself nowadays. And I love to see him back to his original character who is not really like him at all.
Yeah.
He is creepy. He is, subdued. He's not, all over the place. He's not the big character that fills the screen, the way normal Sam Jackson does. And I hope that he actually acts in this in the way that he's not Sam Jackson. He is Glass, you know what I mean? And I think that will happen.
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping that this is Shyamalan's comeback. Because
Maybe.
I read the script of The Sixth Sense not too long ago. It's a great script. He knows what he's doing. He's just fallen down a very bad road and nobody's been there to say, this sucks. Stop it. Like literally, this sucks.
I think it happened more so when like After Earth and The Last Airbender came out, that everyone was like, hey man, you need to stop. Like you need to stop doing this because it's not good. Like, I
mean, I wonder if with The Last Airbender, if other people made it, would people still hate it? Because
if it was made, yes. I think honestly, I was there. I'm a huge fan of that franchise, and it spit in the face of pretty much everybody who loved that show because they just took and he just like even if it wasn't him, whoever decided to basically rename everybody, change how powers worked, change how the world was, change
their race.
Yeah, everything. I was like, and now they're doing a live action version on Netflix. It's like, so this is what they should have done all along. It's just like.
I mean, that's what I'm kind of thinking about whenever I think about the hate he got because of that. Wouldn't people still hate it because it's such a beloved thing, even if it was good? That's what I'm wondering,
That's a good question. Yeah, so it's like maybe like with Star Wars, like, like with nowadays, a lot of these movies coming out, it's like still, they might be considered like well-made films, but because they're not exactly how they wanted them to be, people just hate them. Yeah. I hope not. I think there's a very devout and smaller following of Last Airbender fans, and I hope that they're as excited as I am to kind of like get another shot at this because it was just it really hurt. I was shaking in the theater, and I was with my cousins, and he was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, they haven't even the names are wrong. Like it's like they didn't do any of this, and like the acting was so bad. Like it was like, oh god, like go back to suspense and stuff, Shyamalan. Like you can't. This big like epic fantasy stuff is just not you. Like there's a few things that I was like, there's brief moments where you're like, this could be cool, and then it was like really bad, and it was like, oh, you're killing me. Like
yeah, I mean, I didn't see it, so and I'm not into The Last Airbender, so I was like, I'm just trying to figure out what the hate is.
Sure,
because it's like I've hated stuff just because it is remade. Do you know what I mean?
Oh sure, yeah.
There have been times where I'm like, why are you like? I never watched the new Jumanji just because I'm like, I object. I heard it was bad, but like even so, I'm like, I'm pissed at whoever made this just because. Like even before I even saw it, I'm like, I hate you. This sucks. Same with Jurassic World. I feel like I just hate it because it is, you know what I mean? And so I'm wondering, he was already bad. This was just like people just decided this is gonna suck, and it did suck. But I'm not protecting Shyamalan from any critique. But it's kind of like with I don't know, with Twilight, I guess in a way. Sometimes people just decide to jump on the bandwagon, and I wondered how many people watched The Last Airbender and said they hated Shyamalan.
Yep.
and said that's like that movie sucks. I feel like, did you actually watch it? Do you know the original material? Do you know how they, or is it just like I hate him because he had these people who look dumb in this movie?
Yeah, I think if you went in and you hadn't really had that previous experience with Avatar, then you could go in and it would be like a fine, okay movie. You'd be like,
Yeah.
all right, this is a slightly interesting world, and maybe that would make you want to watch the other
Mhm.
stuff. But it is also hard to compare because like you have a TV show that has hours and hours and hours of stuff and character building and all these emotional moments, and you just kind of all you want, at least for me, was like to hit these specific character qualities. And if you can't even do that, even if it's just like one or two lines, just to be like, yeah, like this character is funny and jokey, but then they're like, nope, he's not going to be funny or jokey at all in this whole movie. And it's like, you took away his thing. You took away that guy's thing. And you're like, oh man. So I'm hopeful, but yeah, like you're saying, like with Jumanji, Jurassic World, I feel like those are just like sequels nobody really had asked for. Like obviously I love Jurassic Park, and like it's just kind of almost been like downhill since there for me. And I love the dinosaurs and getting to go back there, but it just like even me, I was like, do we need to do this? Like I know it's going to make money, guys, and I get their business. Like that's the problem. It's like they're like, we got to. It makes so much money. Like we got to make these stupid movies. I'm sorry. It's
but like, what is your opinion on the final shot in the new Jurassic World? Because that alludes to what the next one is going to be about, right?
That's what this movie should have been.
Yeah, just been like, it's a disaster. They're running loose. It's like World War Z, only good, and also dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's what this movie should have been, because this last Fallen Kingdom was such a retread of so many things, and it was just
nothing.
It was nothing. And like there were some moments where I was like, oh, they're trying to get back to that claustrophobic horror, and I kind of appreciated that. But then it's like, okay, but you're just retreading something and not doing it as well. And then you're showing in the trailers like, look at what's going to happen in our Jurassic World, and it's like that happens at the very end of the movie, and then you use Jeff Goldblum for like 30 seconds to basically say that. I was like,
so silly.
I was like, they're like, Jeff Goldblum's back. I'm like, he's not back. Like,
yeah, he's back. It was just that movie. People give the third Jurassic Park a lot of crap, and I'm like, at least that had something happen.
Yeah.
Yep. At least something happened. At least they were back at like the island was off limits, and like there was actually something to do with the rest of the story, and we see Sam Neill's character develop and do something. And this was just like, so what is Chris Pratt doing? What happened to him at the end? Nothing changed. It's just they went through this whole shebang, but I was left sitting like, okay, so a bunch of them survived, and now they're running around free. So
yeah, especially you made a good point with him and Bryce Dallas Howard. It's like, first off, their character motivations flipped since the last film, and especially him as being like the perfect, all-American white guy, and like he's the guy like I should aspire to be. He has absolutely no flaws, and like that's what I love about Sam Neill as Alan Grant, especially in 1 and in 3 a little bit, is that he is not perfect. And like the one thing he hates more than anything, besides being trapped on an infested dino island, is hanging out with kids. And at the end of Jurassic Park, he's like, you know what? Maybe kids, like, they're not that bad. Like, he learns to be like a father, even though he's like, I don't want to be a father. Like, it's not my thing. He like learns to be more understanding of other people, as opposed to just being like, yep, this is how I live my life, and I'm not going to change it for anybody. And like, that's nice. But Chris Pratt is the same dude at the end of these movies. He's just like, yep, it's still me. And I'm like,
he's so boring.
So boring.
It's been a long time since I've seen such a boring protagonist.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, Dahan in Valerian was pretty terrible. That was
that one's weird because like
that man
is predicated on him like trying to get his partner to marry him, and then there's that moment in the beginning where she's like, these are all the people you've like kind of slept with or cheated on me kind of in a way with, and they're like all up on the board. There's like 100 or 200 of them, and I'm like, how are we supposed to root for this guy? He's such a jerk. Like right away.
How are we supposed to root for him in general? He has no charisma.
Yeah, he's just like dead inside.
He was fine as Harry Osborn.
Yeah.
Even though that movie sucked, it was still like, yeah, you look creepy or whatever. I heard he was getting in Chronicle, but I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But I'm just whose idea was it to like, we need a leading man who's, charismatic and like Han Solo, and, he's a douchebag, but you cheer for him. Dahan?
I could
I'm
have done it better.
sorry.
That's all I was trying to say. Okay.
You would do it better. You would. I think, yeah, that was just.
One day we'll
Oh
get my
boy.
shot.
You'll get your shot one day.
Valerian 2. I'm coming for
Oh,
you.
God. Valerian is the most beautiful bad movie I've ever seen.
I agree.
The world building was incredible, but so it sucked that it was just wasted.
Yeah, that movie's got a crazy budget too. Like watching it, you're like, is this a movie they should have spent as much money on? And knowing that I think it really underperformed. It's just like, oh, that's too bad. Like,
see, I would love to see that as like a video game.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine, that would have been so cool. Even just like just remake it.
Yeah.
Make it a comic book, make it something else. Just remove those two, main characters. Just create and I mean the first opening when they like all meet each other, all the different, that was so cool. Really and cool. I was like, wow. And then like it was such a bad experience.
Yep, I agree. It's like an oversaturated Mass Effect. Like it got and I think that'd make for a heck of a game. Like that would be really cool. Oh,
imagine just like experience it. It would be like a good No Man's Sky. It would just be like, imagine traveling around and seeing all that stuff instead of just like animals. Be like, oh, here's this cool alien race, and here's this. You can actually. Oh, that would be so cool.
That'd be really cool. Oh man.
Yeah, that's. Let's pitch that. Let's have that become a thing.
Yeah, let's find someone.
Jeff Kaplan. No, he doesn't do that stuff.
Jeff, he's gonna just sit in front of a fireplace for 30 minutes or whatever.
He's still sitting there to this day.
Yeah.
He was like, Jeff. I might as well wait, 364 days until we're back at that day where I got to stream. I'll just sit here and chill. Who cares,
Oh, that's so good. Well, okay, so now we have a good feeling of who you are. And you kind of pitched this topic, and we kind of touched on it a little bit here today, but it is Halloween.
Yes.
And, we're kind of talking about like Halloween movies. And even though I'm not a huge like thrill fan or scare fan, there's some movies that I do check out, from time to time on Halloween. But that's what we're going to talk about today. Kind of the movies, maybe the rituals, things you maybe watch during Halloween, around Halloween, maybe every year, maybe once every couple of years. But are there any, Sophia, that come to mind for you where you're like, man, like I really gotta watch this one every Halloween?
I mean, Halloween.
Exactly.
Halloween is the movie. I watched that recently. I love Halloween. I usually watch, the campy ones. Freddy vs. Jason. Love that movie. 13 Ghosts. Not as familiar movie to a lot of people, but it's so campy and it's with Matthew Lillard, and he's absolutely insane in it, which I love. Really? I love when he goes insane. That's why he was the perfect Shaggy, because he just goes all in. And he's also in this one. He's just, it's such a campy movie. But I like horror movies to watch during Halloween where it's like characters that I enjoy.
Sure.
So it's like, 13 Ghosts has a lot of really cool character designs that I keep thinking about, like my Halloween costume, and I'm like getting inspired. So I watch Hellraiser usually.
Okay.
Which is a terrible movie, but the ending is real cool. He's barely in it. Pinhead is barely in it, but it's still cool, like whatever. The Craft. I love The Craft.
I love The Craft.
It's about these 4 teenage witches. It's like super cool. It's just such like a cult. It's like a Tumblr aesthetic. It's such a cool aesthetic. It's about these young witches who just go together, and it's really cool. Hocus Pocus is another one I like to watch. Such a good movie.
I wanted to bring that up because I just watched it for the first time.
Oh,
like a few weeks ago. I gotta be honest with you, Sophia. I should have watched it when I was younger because I was like, it's like a 5 out of 10. I'm sorry, I have to be honest with you. I think there are some things that are good in it. I just don't know who to cheer for. I don't like the main guy. His little sister is hilarious, though. She weirdly objectifies through him the girl that he's interested in. Oh man, that whole sequence. They just like go to a Halloween party. Anyway, but like, are the Sanderson sisters the villains, right? But like, are they the protagonists? Because everyone's like, oh, I love them. I'm like, they're the bad guys. Like,
no, so they're not the protagonists in that like. The protagonist is the person that moves the plot forward, right?
Yeah.
And technically the person who does that is, the dumb kid, because he lights the candle and all that nonsense. So, he kind of technically is the protagonist. They are the main characters, though, which is like a separation that I've now learned the difference between, yeah, they're part of the main characters. It's kind of like in Pirates of the Caribbean, everybody thinks Jack Sparrow or Will Turner, Orlando Bloom, are the protagonists, right? It's actually Elizabeth, because she's the one who takes the medallion. She starts lying about all kinds of stuff. All she wants is to be a pirate. She does all these things to become a pirate. She has the medallion. She goes on the ship. Parlay. I'm going to be here. Then she realizes, oh, I messed up. This is not cool. She does everything to save the village. That's why she goes to the boat, right? She's like, oh, I want to save my father and everyone. I am the one you should take. I am the one with the medallion. Take me. She's good, but she keeps lying to everybody because all she wants to do is be a pirate. She's like looking over to the sea. She doesn't want to get married. Everything that happens it's so funny because everything that happens in Pirates of the Caribbean is because of her, but we think Will Turner is the main character.
Sure. That's because it was marketed that way, right?
Yeah. It was like tricking people into thinking, you know, yeah, you want to see these two men go and do this shit. But then like, it's cool because it's actually her. She's the protagonist. She's the one who's stranded on the island. When she's not there, they talk about her. She's the main focus because Will wants her. Like Jack Sparrow wants, you know, it's funny because, yeah, it's all about her. But we don't realize until you read the script and you're like, without her, there wouldn't be a movie.
That's true. Yeah. And so would like Barbossa as being just the villain, like he moves things along, but because he's just the antagonist, he's kind of helping Elizabeth, though, try to move the medallion forward. I
mean, I wouldn't say that he is the antagonist per se. I would say maybe that
the curses?
The guy who wants to marry her is
Norrington.
Because what her motivation is, she wants to be a pirate.
And she manipulates poor Norrington.
He's standing in the way of her doing anything. Her father is standing in the way of her doing anything. They are the ones who are chasing them constantly. And when she gets back, she's like, no, we gotta go for Will Turner. Like, he's always in her way of doing stuff she wants to do. Right? And in the end, she's like, she sees it. She's like, I'm gonna help not have Jack Sparrow killed. And like, that's why she's like fainting and using him. But yeah, like, I mean, she is a pirate in that she lies all the time. Yeah. She's not honest with anybody. She doesn't care. Like, she wants to live that life. So it's very interesting how like they made it into, it's Will Turner's story, but he's just a side character.
Sure, especially in that first one, and I think
it changes in the second one, obviously, because she kind of, or in the third one, when it's, well, I mean, kind of in the second one too, but yeah, the third one definitely, you know, it changes because they're like, oh, Jack Sparrow's so popular, now it's his movie.
Yeah,
but the first one is about Elizabeth and her journey into becoming a pirate, and then all these people just happen to come in her way, like side characters do in movies. Yes. So Barbossa is kind of, she wants him to help her. And he kind of does.
He's the guide.
But then the monsters come, and she's like, "Oh, dang! I didn't expect this." Then he's standing in her way, but he's technically never doing anything. Like, if you think about it, when they capture her onto the ship, and she's sitting in Barbossa's like little lounge area, or whatever, she doesn't try to escape because she wants to be there, right? She doesn't try to escape. She's there, and they're like, "You got to be naked," or whatever. She goes by their demands. When she gets the meat, she like eats it like a pirate. She's like, I'm gonna eat this. When her father and Norrington takes her and puts her in the same kind of room, she escapes. She doesn't want to be, and she does it so easy. She just puts the things down. She just like, ropes her way down on the sheets. She could have easily done that if she didn't want to be on Barbossa's ship, but she does. She wants the pirate life. Like, it's such a cool way of creating a movie where it's like, yeah, you think all these guys are, Will Turner is nobody.
Yeah, that's true.
He just wants to he just likes her. Yep. And she likes him, but like, her main concern is, I want to be a pirate. That's my thing.
Yeah.
She dreams about it. She sings it in the first scene of the movie, her little baby version. She sings A Pirate's Life for Me. Like, that's her thing.
Yeah, that's true. I will say this, though. She does stab Barbossa and try to leave, and he's like, he kind of questions her at that point, because she does try to escape, kind of. And he's like, what did you think you were going to do? He's like, you're going to kill me, and then what, take over the ship? Like,
and that's like, what she wants to, right? She kills him, as a pirate would do. They wouldn't just escape a ship. They'd try to take it. Yeah,
that's true.
That's why I love Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know how we ended up here, but...
I'll say this, Pirates, I really need to make my top like 20 or 15, but Pirates has always been there for me. I I kind of hate her character, especially when we get to Pirates 3. That's just me, because she goes from like just where she was to like the lord of all pirates, and it gets so out of hand. But that first Pirates of the Caribbean, there's a really, really, really good like it was like a 40-minute thing this person put out, like a video essay saying that like in every scene of Pirates of the Caribbean, they're doing like 2 or 3 different things that are moving the plot forward and doing stuff, and it's like such an engaging film, and it's like I think he called it like accidentally brilliant. So like if you could ever watch it, it's so good because you're like,
I think I've seen that video. Yeah, it's true. They do so many like cool small things that turned it into such a compelling movie. But I do think, I think it's cool because, as you said in the third one, she becomes like a Lord of the Pirates, which is what she wanted to do. The problem is, unlike the first movie where she did drive the plot forward, now we got, Johnny Depp's character is so popular. Let's have him also drive the plot forward. And you can't have 2 people doing. That's why when she suddenly becomes this big guy, or like this big girl, woman, it's kind of like, whoa, where'd that come from? That's dumb. Because they kind of left her arc and then just like, let's just focus on these guys because he's so funny. We love Jack Sparrow. And then her arc, she's just kind of like Will's girl. Instead of in the first movie, she was the one who did everything. And they followed her. Yeah.
And the only reason she gets that status is because of Jack. Because he's like, I vote for her too. And they're all like, what? And then it's just like.
But if it had been her story throughout all the 3 of them, it would have been like, cooler. Let's go. But I agree. They made it. And it sucks because, she's a good character. But also I hated it. I hated her character for a long time until we talked about it once in class. And I realized, she's cool. She's great. She's the one who made it happen.
Yeah, and she fights at the end of the first one too, which is great. She finally gets to do what she wants to do. She's like, I'm fighting pirates in a cave full of gold. It's like, I'm doing it.
But in order to sell a movie, they had to put, Orlando Bloom in there.
Yep.
Which does a decent job.
Yeah, I mean, it gets people out, I guess. And the thing was like having the juxtaposition between him and, Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow being like, here's just like your regular boring old pseudo hero, and then you have the other one who's like kind of a good guy, kind of a bad guy. You never really know. That was the fun thing about Jack until like everybody becomes Jack in like the
that's the thing. Yeah, the fact that everybody became a pirate, I didn't like.
Yeah,
I think that was in Dead Man's Chest, right? When they all became, even Norrington became a pirate, and I'm like, no, he was the guy who was not in Pirate Land. Why is he a pirate now? That doesn't make sense. Pirates were, the bad guys you didn't want to be near, but she wanted it because that was Elizabeth's dream or whatever. But I hated that suddenly we didn't have a bad guy that was anti-pirate.
Yep.
I hated that.
Well, they give you, I think it's all in 2 and 3, but you get Beckett, who's the most boring. He's just like, I run the East India Trading Company. And he just like, when they talk about in the beginning of 2 in Dead Man's Chest, Elizabeth is like, don't go to like the Isla de Muerta. And he's like, I don't care for any cursed gold. I was like, so you just know about like cursed gold? And you're just like, it's like it brushes the first movie under the rug, like not a big deal. We're after bigger fish, and it's like,
it's very sad with that series because I mean, once it was just was it the 4th where just nobody was there except for Jack Sparrow
and Barbossa,
it's like then it's just dumb.
That's who I watch for though. Barbossa's my favorite. He's like the first pirate because like no matter what, he's always the bad. Like he's always still kind of a bad guy. Even in 4 when they're like, oh, he's working for like Under the Crown, and I'm like, yeah, but he's still a bad guy, and he still like shows his colors, and you're like, okay, like
I do like his performance a lot.
Yeah, I love Jeffrey Rush.
I think I quote, "Code is more of a guideline." I probably say that once a week.
Yep,
I don't know why. It's such a good. Oh my god, yeah.
I love saying I'm disinclined to acquiesce to your request because right after he's like, "We're not but humble pirates," and then he's just like, "Oh, this guy's really smart. Barbossa's a very intelligent guy. Don't mess with him." Man, I love Barbossa. But yeah, speaking of Johnny Depp, though, I was gonna say I've gotten into, and I don't watch it every Halloween, but my buddy Joe, who's usually on here, he loves Sleepy Hollow. And I've caught it a few times here and there. Very kind of campy. There are some genuinely scary moments in that movie with just the Headless Horseman. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
Oh, years and years ago. Because that's a pretty old movie, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's pretty old. Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, I remember some of the scenes with the Headless Rider. That's I'm not really into like gothic horror.
Okay, sure.
If that makes sense. Like even like The Witch for me was kind of like old fashioned-y. Like for some reason I have a thing against medieval stuff. I don't know why. It's just
Okay.
like it doesn't interest me. It's weird because I love The Sims Medieval. Amazing game. It's a standalone game. Nobody knows about it. It's
Sure.
you run a kingdom. It's like Civ and or like Sim City and The Sims in one. It's great.
Oh,
You
cool.
design a bunch of characters to have your like hospitals and how it's a great Sims game. And I like the Lord of the Rings, obviously. It's great.
Yeah.
Theoden is my favorite character. People
What? I
forget.
love that.
Yeah, people forget that Theoden is incredible.
Ugh.
He goes through crap, and even when he wakes up, he's not perfect. That's what I like that he does. When he wakes up, he's not a good leader. He's mourning his son. He's realizing all the stuff he's done that's terrible, and he makes a lot of bad decisions before he makes good ones.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that he's like,
Especially in
he's-
Return of the King when he's
Yeah.
like when he gives that speech in Pelennor Fields and he's like ride now, and it's just like they show up and you're like that ebb and flow. But yeah, he is a character where he's just like screw Gondor, man. They weren't there for us. We're not going to be there for them. And then they're like, he's like, oh my, we'll go. They lit the cool fires. Like we'll get going. Like let's go. Like yeah, Theoden, good pick.
Theoden is great. My favorite Lord of the Rings is 2.
Yeah.
Two Towers is my favorite. And when he recites the poem, Where's the Horse and the Rider? I cry every time. Every time I just sit in tears. I had to analyze that movie recently for a class, and I just sat there like, and I had to see the movie so many times. I'd see it like 3 times, and I was like, every time, he has such a good performance in that, and yeah, people look over Theoden, but he's just. I love actors that do something so, I don't know, British. I don't know. Like he's not a British actor, I think, but like that like Ian McKellen too. They have this sort of pristine filling of the room without being loud.
Yeah.
That I think Theoden has. I can't take my eyes off him whenever he's on screen. I don't care about Aragorn or anybody else. I'm like, it's kind of like the opposite of Samuel L. Jackson, who is loud, and that's why your eyes are like, he's charming. Like, wow, I'm gonna look at him. He's like so interesting. But yeah, people like, what is this? I gotta look up what the actor's name is. I feel so bad just saying Theoden. Bernard Hill, obviously, and he is British. That's what I figured. Yeah, I thought he was British. Like him or like Anthony Hopkins, where
oh my god,
they can just sit there and be quiet, and I gotta look at them.
Top 3 actors of all time. Anthony Hopkins, just yeah.
Yeah, what are the other 2?
It's see, I go back and forth on this a little bit. Ian McKellen is number 1, hands down, forever and ever and ever, because no one can play Gandalf the Grey, Gandalf the White, and Magneto as well. It's like what like and also just because of like not. I don't know for movie, but like TV, I really, really love. I fell in love with Kelsey Grammer as Frasier. I just watched him for years. He does such a good job of being this like pompous but charming guy who could be like an everyman, but also way better than everyone at the same time. And he skirts this really cool line and like builds this character over like 11 seasons plus Cheers before that. So those 3. But Anthony Hopkins, like I think of The Mask of Zorro. And I was just thinking about this the other day, how he in that movie, I really love Antonio Banderas. Don't get me wrong.
Oh no, I love him too. Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah,
Anthony Hopkins is like the reason I watch it, because like a true like Count of Monte Cristo revenge story, and like seeing him young and then grow up and be like this kind of snarky teacher who like will pull out a spoon when you pull out a sword to train, and he's like, I'm better than you, and it's like, oh, he's so good. I love him, Anthony Hopkins, and he's also really good at composing music. He makes really good music. Like you're like, what? He composed this? Like
I do. I like your list. I like you don't have Daniel Day-Lewis because that's such a classic. But I feel like that's like a duh.
Yeah, too easy.
Yeah, too easy. That's a good list. I'm into that list. That's a good one.
It's just it's only like 3, but like whenever somebody brings up like Hopkins or Ian McKellen, I'm just like, go on. I'm like Ian McKellen. I'm like, my heart melts. Gandalf the Grey is my favorite. Oh, God, I love him so much.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, favorite actors is like, yeah, Anthony Hopkins for sure.
Yeah.
I also would like to. It's funny. I have found new respect for Robert Pattinson, which is a weird actor to talk about, because, I mean, I also landed on the bandwagon of I hate Twilight. Sure. Although for me that was just because I read the final book and I hated the last book.
Okay,
so
sure.
The last book ruined everything, so I was pissed. But when that came out, I was like, God, I just spent so much time reading these. I like the first one, and I'm going to stick by the first movie. It's not a bad movie. It's a good movie. It's a teen drama, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a nicely directed movie. It's funny that all the other movies are terrible because the first movie was directed by Catherine Hardwicke, a woman, you know, making a movie about a woman, written by a woman, and then the rest were directed by men. And even she's like, it's kind of weird. And also they suck. And I'm like kind of happy about that.
Yeah, you're like, well, there you go.
I'm like, yeah, there you go. No, but I think the first one is a decent movie. It's not, you know, but obviously his acting isn't incredible. Yeah. Same in Harry Potter. He was just the hot guy. But if you see a movie that's called Good Time, I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't.
It came out last year. It is incredible. His acting there is, it's so superb. I just sat there transfixed. It is such a cool indie movie about two brothers. And yeah, it's like the movie I would recommend anybody seeing because it's, you know, I could recommend any big movie or whatever, but this is one nobody basically heard of, which is such a shame because really? It's very interestingly shot because the directors, I think they're brothers, they have a lot of close-ups. It's all very close. And apparently their first film was there were so many close-ups. People were like, do you know how to establish a scene? People were like, they didn't understand that was their style. So this one has a lot of more establishing shots, but they're always like so close and it's so intimate. And you feel like, I'm not going to spoil what it's about because it's cool to just go in blind like I did. I just went in blind. Somebody just said, watch Good Time. I had 2 hours to spare. I was like, okay. So I went in blind and I just felt so into it. And he's a different person in it. He's such a good actor in that one.
Cool.
And so that's like a movie. If it's not Halloween related, you know, whatever, but it is, he's crazy in it. I love it. It's so good. And I love when people play characters that are either evil or crazy or, you know, just like do bad things, but they don't overact them. You know, where it's like, wahaha, I'm so evil. Or, you know, Robert Pattinson in this movie is not a nice guy, but you still root for him. And I think that when actors do that, it's such a good thing to do. It's kind of like Hannibal Lecter. You kind of root for him and forget that he's a terrible person. Yeah. Because of like the quality that Hopkins brings to it alongside the script. And Robert Pattinson kind of does the same here. We're like, I kind of root for him, but he's such a bad person.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So, yeah, movie recommendation for sure. Good time. Yes.
If you're looking for a good time, watch Good Time.
I mean, it's not a good time because it's a pretty intense movie, but it's a story I've never seen before, and both how it's shot, the music is incredible, and like the acting is just it's like my favorite movie of last year. It's so good.
That's cool. Nice. Yeah. I was thinking about you kind of saying like actors who kind of take like an evil or crazy person and maybe don't go over the top with it. And maybe you consider this over the top, but I always think of like, I forgot, top 4, Andy Serkis though. I think being someone who is more deserving of an Oscar than anyone, but being in multiple roles. And I just think of his portrayal as the duality of Gollum and Smeagol. Yes. And kind of having those moments where you're like, he's a good guy. Look, he's so nice and friendly. And then he just like back into just, you know, I hate everyone. I'll kill everyone. And it's like, oh man, that performance. It's like, whew.
I love Andy Serkis. This summer I watched War of the Planet of the Apes for the first time. I've never cried so much. And here's the funny thing. Before I watched that movie, I put on Dunkirk, didn't shed a single tear. I was like, this is so static and boring.
I've heard it's like B tier, or I mean like B-roll stuff. It's like a lot of just like panning shots of just like
it is beautiful. It's beautiful. It would probably be a great experience in cinema, but I guess since I watched it on a normal television, the story meant more to me.
Sure.
And so the story was not there. I didn't care about a single character. The logic didn't. It was just very disappointing. But I respect Nolan's, you know, the fact that it took so much time and effort to shoot it the way it did.
Sure.
That is like major respect to him. But it was just not compelling. And then I put on War of Planet of the Apes and I cry like 5 minutes in. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, that beginning is rough.
Oh, that movie was just so powerful. And his performance, Serkis, is just, wow.
Yeah, and I should say
I
the
was
other
just
ones too, like his other ape companions. There's that one shot they show in the trailers. And I remember cutting this for like a review, and they have that person who does the orangutan, and they kind of like look towards the screen, and it's
yeah.
like breathtaking, like how realistic that performance
Yes.
and the look of it all is. You're like, oh my god, like,
Exactly. That's actually a woman, and I don't remember her
yes,
name,
she's very good.
but oh, she's so good. I
Oh
think
god,
every person in that movie,
yeah,
even Woody Harrelson. I
yep,
have huge respect for actors who play roles where they know they're gonna look terrible and people are gonna hate them.
yep.
And I after that movie, I hate seeing his face. I just like I watched No Country for Old Men later, I think, and I was like, oh, he
Like
was
there he is,
he
like
was
oh my
so
gosh.
terrible against all those monkeys.
And he
Like,
started in Cheers as just Woody the barkeep. You know, it's like weird to think like how people transition, like him
yeah.
especially from like TV sitcoms and stuff into like
Mhm.
a famous dramatic actor. Like
Yes.
it's like good
Also,
on you.
it was funny because you're talking about like I guess we're talking about actors that don't overgo or like overact in certain movies. Back to like the Halloween theme, I guess. One of my favorite performances was Peter Stormare in Constantine as Satan.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm relatively familiar with that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, have you seen Constantine the
It's
movie?
been so long because
Yeah,
that's another older one, right?
yeah, it's such a good movie though. It's so great. Like I just that's also one of my like I should probably watch that for Halloween.
Yeah, it'd be a perfect one for Halloween. Gotta,
Yeah,
yeah,
because it's not scary, but it's just like all these demons and scary.
yeah,
But like playing the devil is that could have been done so over the top. Wahaha, I'm so
for
evil.
sure.
But he's just a guy in a suit. He has like the weird laugh and like these crazy things he does with his like mouth. And it's like it's just enough that you're scared of him. But like, yeah, I think like I love that they didn't make the devil this super evil monster. And I'm like,
Yeah,
ooh. It's cool that like the archangel, which is like I guess his son or something. I don't remember
yeah,
exactly that connection, but I like that they felt more evil than
sure.
him because he was just there to like I'm here to get what I deserved or whatever. I just I love that performance. It's such a cool movie. I never saw the show just
Okay,
because
yeah. I
I
did.
feel like I have such a heart for the movie that I felt like it's gonna.
Weirdly, I fell in love with that actor because he is now like part of the CW like Arrowverse, the guy who did
Oh,
the
cool.
Constantine for the show. Because like the show got canceled, and then they started sprinkling him into some of their shows, especially like Legends of Tomorrow, which is like just a hodgepodge of stuff. And now I think he this season is a regular on that show, which I was so happy about because they had like 2 or 3 episodes with him. And I kept thinking, this guy's really good and should be here all the time. And then they're like, yep, he's going to be here all the time. I'm like, thank you, because he brings that character is interesting just because it's like, hey, he's kind of Doctor Strange, but not powerful, and he's kind of like an
Yeah.
investigator. So I like the idea of Constantine as a character altogether.
Yeah, it's I love him because he has so many flaws.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And yeah, same in the show. It's just like, yep, he's like, I am not, I've got a lot of issues, but
Mhm.
I'm here to help when I can. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
So he's part of the universe, the Arrow universe. Is that what you said?
Yes.
But
Yes.
he's in Arrow as well.
I don't know if he pops up in Arrow. He
Hmm.
might. There's maybe one episode. I'm trying to think because I've like watched all of them together. So it's like Arrow, Flash, like Legends of Tomorrow, and it's just
Oh,
like
okay.
all together, and they cross over so much. I think
Yeah.
he pops up in that, or maybe a Flash episode or two, and then oh no, he does. He does have a background with Oliver Queen. Yes, I
Oh,
remember this.
cool.
Okay, so there he's tied into that, and then the hodgepodge, like I said, of like villains and heroes, which is Legends of Tomorrow. That's what he's a part of more so now.
Okay,
So
interesting.
yeah, it's a cool show. It's a weird show, which I found out I've never really watched Doctor Who, and apparently
Uh-huh.
Doctor Who is kind of similar to Legends of Tomorrow, and that's like time hopping, and there's like lots of weird things, and there's space, but they can do lots of like crazy mix ups and mashes, and like that's why I'm like into that show. It's like my big, I wouldn't even say guilty pleasure. I just enjoy watching it because it's dumb fun. I'm just like,
Yeah.
Yep, this
I
is for me.
haven't seen either of those. I'm not a
Okay,
big because I don't know. I just never got into it. I
that's fair
guess.
enough. Oh, I don't.
Yeah.
There's
I have too many shows. And yeah, in like the Halloween spirit, I am watching Channel Zero,
okay,
which is
cool.
kind of a scary show, I
Yeah,
would say.
yeah,
I'm not phased by it, but I know people I've watched it with who became kind of nervous
sure.
and scared about it. I was just sitting there like, this is cool. And they were like, ah. But
So when
yeah.
this podcast premieres, Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is coming out on Netflix. Do you have any love for like Sabrina the Teenage Witch or anything like that from back in the
Yes.
day?
Yes, I grew up with her. Or I grew up, I guess I was a teenager. So yeah, that's why I'm again, it's sort of that thing of iffy with rebooting things.
Yeah.
So it's like I already hate it, but I shouldn't because I haven't seen it. Same with Charmed. Same with Charmed. I also
Oh
Charmed was
yeah.
a big part of my.
Charmed.
It's like when I came home from school, it was Charmed and it was Sabrina and it was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Those were the shows
Yes.
I watched when I came home from
Yes.
school. Those were the shows, and then sometimes Days of Our Lives if I quit early. But I hated that show. That was just like dumb. But yeah, those were the shows. So I don't know. I kind of don't want to watch them. And it's
Sure.
unfair. It's unfair to people. Kind of. It's unfair that I already hate them. But it's too close to. I just know I won't be as into it as I probably
Sure.
would.
And
So
I'm-
it's kind of like since there's so many other original stuff, it's like at the bottom of my list.
Yeah, and I think
It's
a lot of it,
unfortunate.
this could have been original, but I think a lot of name recognition is like something to help sell a brand a lot of the time. So like
Yeah.
they could have done the Sabrina thing and had it not called that at all, and then just been like a story of like a young witch coming to age and like
Yeah.
done that and not named any of the characters the same names. But I think that was very, very purposeful. And that's Netflix is nostalgia hunting. Like right now, it's either like they're gonna make a continuation or a reboot. And if you like those things, you're gonna be there. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
gotcha.
That's
Like-
what I don't really. It's like, yeah, there's being produced too much stuff that is just like circulation and it's meant to attract you because of, yeah, like, of course we're nostalgic. We are looking, it's that like that 30-year nostalgic gap
Yeah.
of like, sort of like, if you look 10 years back, a lot of people were into like hippie stuff, like the like fashion sense. It was all like this bohemian, whatever. Now we're in the 80s. That's all we want to do. We listen to Vaporwave and we watch Stranger Things and we do all these 80s things. And obviously that's what we're looking for. But I hate that so many shows now and movies for that matter are playing into that by just a wave of nostalgia to make you feel good. I kind of not as much into that. It's just, yeah, it seems like all these things are being remade and done, as you said, just for nostalgic reasons. And so I don't know if I'll watch Charmed or Sabrina. I love the originals.
Me too. I actually,
cheesy as hell, and I love it.
You might not know this about me, Sophia, but I have 3 sisters. I have 2 female cousins, and I used to hang out with all of them. So we watched Charmed because that's what you do. And I had a big crush on Piper back in the day. But I loved Charmed, and I watched some Sabrina, here and there, just because. But it was so like. It was like a sitcom that just had some magic thrown in and a weird talking cat, Salem. So you're just like, there you go. But now it's like, this is a new take on it, and I hope it's good, because I kind of like that it's for the people who grew up with it and be like a little older now to appreciate it, like a darker twist on it. Yeah. But I don't know if it's trying to kind of be like Buffy a little bit too, like if you're into Buffy.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
I'm not sure, but I mean, that's just how the nostalgia hunters, man. They're even doing it in the MCU. Thor Ragnarok, the promotional material was all 80s stuff. It was just like, look at the synth vibes and happy.
I love that movie though.
I know people love that movie.
I guess, sorry to interrupt you. I just I think what they did was good. It wasn't an 80s movie. It was just the style of the music and the logo. They didn't like make it 80s.
Yeah.
Which would have, that would have been a nostalgia thing if like all he listened to was 80s pop.
Like the Guardians. Like Guardians.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's kind of, they're doing like a little bit of nostalgia stuff, but it fits at least a narrative because it's on his mixtape.
Yeah,
but
sure.
If they'd made Thor Ragnarok, like, I mean, Mark Ruffalo did wear a Duran Duran shirt, and I was like, okay,
yeah, it's getting there. I wanted Ragnarok to be like a big medieval fantasy thing because it was gonna be like the big Thor like cap op, but it was like a sci-fi buddy trip, like co-op road trip thing. I was like, okay, I was just like, eh. But anyway, there are great moments in that movie. Don't get me wrong. There's some really good stuff in there. But just like the marketing material for so many things nowadays is like, hey, there's a little bit of 80s stuff, and then eventually it'll be like a little bit of 90s stuff. Like we're already starting to see it. Like look at Captain Marvel, like Blockbuster, and they're like, hey, it's set in the 90s, but and that was the only thing they really showed that was 90s. But we'll see if going forward, if they're like, hey, guess what? She like Britney Spears or NSYNC is on the radio when she's like driving around. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Are you excited about that movie?
Captain Marvel. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm hopeful for it because, and I had someone on a few weeks ago, Christine, who said she hopes that not everyone is going to compare it directly to Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah.
And I get
agree.
that. I totally get that. But nothing exists in a vacuum. And I thought Wonder Woman had a lot of really good things going for it. And the MCU has not put out a female-led superhero movie yet, and they've had like 20 films to do it. So they really have to bring something special because a lot of people have been building up, even me, because I'm getting sick of watching all these just regular old white guys be the heroes. I'm like, come on, like that's why like Black Panther. It's the same as a Phase 1 Marvel film, but I was just excited to be somewhere else. Like I was like,
exactly. Not in America.
yeah, and with a bunch of different people that have their own problems, and like that's cool. So that's why I'm really hoping Captain Marvel is good. Plus, I want to see a literal female superhero in these films, besides like Scarlet Witch, who can take a punch and get a punch. You know what I mean? Like they can give one out because like Black Widow, her best ability is not getting shot at, but like she's not gonna punch Thanos.
She's
like,
terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I did like
on.
what they did with Scarlet Witch. She was I did not think of her as anything in Age of Ultron.
She's gotten
but
better.
Then I was like, whoa, she's actually real powerful. I'm into it.
Yeah, like Civil War, she gets like little bits. And you're like, okay, she's getting there. But it's like Captain Marvel's gonna be like the Superman of the Marvel stuff, and it's like that's so cool. Like I hope she comes in just like boom, like just really cracks Thanos in the face or whomever, Galactus or whatever. I'm excited to have her be a focal point. But yeah, talking about Samuel Jackson, they're gonna have him back. You know, we'll see how crazy he is in that. You know, and
the CG looked great.
Their de-aging technology is getting to the point where it's like.
Scary good.
It's scary good. Like it used to be like, and now it's
Robert
like
Downey Jr. in like one of the Iron Mans or whatever.
Yeah, Civil War is like
yeah, and then look perfect.
Yeah,
look creepy.
Now it's like, well, did you just buy the rights to Michael Douglas? Because like if he dies, you could be like, we have him forever. Like,
oh, don't say that.
I'm just saying, man, he's getting up there.
The ending of the Ant-Man movie.
I had people gasping.
The whole crowd was like,
that whole
I'm horrified.
Movie's like happy-go-lucky, super fun times, and it's like sadness.
I was like, because I didn't really like the first Ant-Man. I actually fell asleep during it. I was kind of like, yeah, I loved the part where his friend, what is his name?
Michael Pena.
Yeah, I love when he was talking about everything and that whole sequence of going back in time. Oh, so good. And I love that they brought that back. But the first Ant-Man was just kind of meh to me.
Yeah.
This one, I was like, whoa, some cool things are happening. And yeah, there was some dumb stuff like, how did Michelle Pfeiffer get all those cool clothes?
Yeah, exactly.
How did she survive? Was she
She's got like the makeup and stuff too. You're like, wow, you look great. You've been here for so long.
Like, how did you eat? Like there were a bunch of questions, but I didn't really care because it made fun of itself. It wasn't serious. It was cool. I loved it. And then the end came and I'm like,
yeah, that ending. So man, I was like, all right.
Painful. I don't even care about anybody else next movie except for Ant-Man. He's the only one almost only one I care about.
Yeah.
But in the next Avengers, but yeah, that was I don't know. Yeah, and also I wish I was as into Captain Marvel as everybody else.
And that's okay.
I'm not hyped.
Okay, what is it that you're not hyped about?
Maybe it's because I get the Superman vibes, and I think Superman is boring, and I think Captain Marvel seems boring. I have nothing against the actress. I love her. She was incredible in the room, and I mean, she's Oscar winning. She knows what she's doing. It's not going to be her fault. I just think, from what I could tell, if she's meant, I'm not too familiar with the character of Captain Marvel. So from what I hear, she's pretty stoic. She doesn't really know how to fit into society. But I kind of got the feeling, is she bored? Or is
sure? Okay.
So I'm kind of worried it will be that. Like, it's a hard thing to try and be stoic and not fit into a place or try to learn stuff without it being either comical or you looking bored.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like when Thor in the first Thor movie, it was comical. They played it off as comical. He's like, "What is this? What does that do?" And then you have other movies where it's like, "Okay, you're just without a personality, or you could be." So I'm just kind of. I don't know. I'm so happy that she gets to know a movie, but I'm wondering, does she need one, or would it have been enough to introduce her? Because that's my kind of, I don't know, hot take that people kind of disagree with. I don't think we needed a Doctor Strange movie. I love Doctor Strange. The movie is great, but did we need it? I'm not sure we needed it.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure we needed Ant-Man, because it's like we could have introduced them in different ways. And I think especially with Doctor Strange, it was just a very long scene about how he became Doctor Strange. And I'm not sure if we needed it to have fun with Avengers. He could have been this mysterious doctor that we didn't know. We care about Scarlet Witch. She didn't get a film. We know enough about her from those scenes. We're like, okay, she was tested on. Her and her brother had this whole thing. Yeah. I still care about her. And I feel like with Doctor Strange, I probably would have just cared as much, or cared just as much. And so I'm wondering if Captain Marvel, if we do need this entire movie, what is this going to be filled with? Will I have fun, or will it just be big action, cool sequence? Here's this cool, computerized whatever.
Sure.
Or if she could have just jumped in and been like, here she is. Somehow put in a backstory that's just, I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I guess what I would say is, like, I see your point. I wonder if they did that, though, if more people would say, like, all right, at any moment at the 11th hour, Ghost Rider could show up. Or, like, some random, superhero could show up without having any pretense in the world before. Because then they'd be like, there's no tension anymore, because, like, a new version of the Hulk's going to show up or something, and be like, oh, who's that guy? Because, like,
I mean, that makes sense.
But I see where you're coming from, though, because, like, most people who go to these, like, I feel like nowadays kind of know the crew for the most part. And at least if they don't see, like, Doctor Strange, they'll be like, oh, that's the Doctor guy. So, like, if they see Infinity War, they're like, that's the guy. I didn't see his movie. He does magical stuff. And you're like,
that's the thing. Like, I just feel we technically haven't had standalone movies for a lot of these people, but we do still care about them. We do still know their backstory somehow. And even if we don't, like, I mean, that's what that cool sequence did, and that's, like, the only cool thing about Age of Ultron. When you saw the flashbacks, we're like, oh, Black Widow was a ballerina, and all this stuff happened.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And so now I have enough to be like, that's why she's the way she is. Yeah. It didn't take long. I didn't need all that. And I feel like I don't know. Maybe it's just, I'm just afraid of filler movies. I don't particularly like them. I felt like the first Ant-Man was filler. The second one was entertaining and fun, and I had a good time. Second Guardians felt like a filler movie. They're like some of them where it's like, yeah, it's fun, but do we need to do all this stuff? Couldn't we do something else? There are other characters that you might be able to introduce. You don't have to have them be in Avengers, or like the next Avengers. They could just be Marvel movies. They don't all have to come together. It would have been cool if we did another Marvel thing and just they aren't part of what's going on here.
Yeah, I totally get you. It's just I know from a business standpoint, Disney's that's the thing. Is
my
like,
dreaming.
Filler is that they're like, we love filler, baby. It, like, gives us more time.
Yeah,
like, more people go see it, and then those people who maybe didn't see the last Avengers see the new one because he's in it, or she's in it, or whomever.
It's fun. It's fun, and it's a lot of money. I mean, I have a good time. I want them to make more movies. I just want to make good movies and not, like the Thor movies. I think first two.
Yeah, I think we're on an upswing. And I think, I don't know if we'll get Thor again. Going forward, my kind of thought is it'll be Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, and Black Panther, which will be like the new Cap, Iron Man, and Thor as far as like the three like trilogies. And then Captain Marvel will be put in there too. It's doing like a 3, because I don't know if we'll get another Thor. Thor.
Got it.
Yeah, and I don't know if we're gonna get. I don't think they'll never make Iron Man 4. Like, if Robert Downey Jr. doesn't want to do it, like, then they just won't do Force for anybody. They won't do Cap 4. They won't do it.
Yeah, because Chris Evans is leaving.
That's the thought. I mean, like, because it's all.
Or they're just saying it.
Yeah, we know so much because, like, we know, like, some of the contracts were up, and we're like, okay, like, who's gonna stay, who's gonna go, and, like, because Disney could at the 11th hour again come in and be like, hey, you know what? Here's like $300 million. How about you sign on for like 20 movies, or something, like, come in with some crazy number, and then they'd be like, I have to do it. You know what I mean? Like, not that they don't have enough money, but like Robert Downey Jr. got like $50 million from like the first Avengers, and it's like he's still doing them. He could have been like, all right, when the contract's done, I am out for sure. Like
I just hope there won't be more Iron Man. I'm so tired of Iron Man, honestly.
Well,
I
yeah.
love Robert Downey Jr. I love to see him in other stuff.
Part of the
Because
cult,
it's
like
boring now. Yeah, he's boring. There's nothing happening. I don't care about him and Gwyneth Paltrow's relationship. I really don't care. Like, it's the same with Thor. I don't care about him and Natalie Portman if that ever happened.
Oh god, that's the
like,
romances are so bad. Yeah.
The romances are terrible. And it's just like, yeah, I would care about a Hulk movie. I'd be all up for a Hulk and Black Widow movie. That'd be super cool.
Like separate ones?
No, because they have a cool relationship / friendship.
Okay.
If it would be a friendship, let's do it. We haven't seen a lot of them, you know? And like, yeah, it's like, yeah, you're making Doctor Strange too, but I'd like to see more of Hulk. That would be a cool backstory. Because the Hulk movies have been pretty terrible.
Yeah, and
so let's make a good one.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the problem, like with Hulk movies, I don't know how familiar you are with this, but technically for like a standalone Hulk film, Universal still owns the rights to it.
Oh, so right.
Basically, what Kevin Feige and Mark Ruffalo, they talked about this. They're like, what if we make basically a Hulk movie over the course of Thor Ragnarok, Infinity Wars Part 1 and 2 or whatever? And they're like, so it'll be like a Hulk movies in there, but not by itself. Because until they get the rights back. Because honestly, if they could get them back, I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, all right, people love the Hulk again. Let's throw the Hulk in there with some other things and other people. Like, that's the thing, too. Don't put these characters by themselves anymore. It's so frustrating. Like, when Iron Man in, like, 2 or 3 had problems, and you're like, call any Avenger. Like, I mean, they're not going to maybe be as powerful, but, like, just try to call Thor. Or try to call Cap. Like, anybody can help you. Like, it's like, it's really frustrating. Are these all happening in the same 2 days? It's like, oh, my gosh. Yeah. But they'll keep making these. They'll make these forever if they can. Like,
I just hope DC bounces back.
I hope they do. And the fact
I'm on a hope train. I don't think they will, but
Suicide Squad 2, that might be the turnaround. If James Gunn's over there, regardless how you feel about him, I think that movie has a chance of being something really weird and interesting. Maybe.
I mean, I'm all for James Gunn. I am 100%. Let's go, James Gunn. Suicide Squad was so bad.
Oh gosh, I completely agree with you.
I just don't he's kind of gotten the issue just worse, way worse than Rian Johnson did, where it's just solve all this. And it's like, what? He's just put a bunch of questions that wasn't answered to Suicide Squad, and he's like, okay, here you go. And that's so unfair.
Yeah.
It was the same with The Force Awakens. It was all questions by the end. And he's like, Ryan, here are all these questions. Can you why is Luke on an island? Go answer it. It's like, oh, well, thanks.
Yeah, I kind of like, part of me still like hopes, and I know this wasn't the case. I always think that like J.J. Abrams walked in and they like got him for 9, and he's like, cool. So Ryan probably he like kept the threads going, right? And I'll tie him up. And they're like, no, man, like you tied most of that stuff up, buddy. And he's like, wait,
like
what?
A film should, because a film shouldn't end with cliffhangers. They literally ended on a cliff.
That's true. Okay, what do you think about Empire Strikes Back though? People used to hate it, now they love it. That's a big cliffhanger movie. That's like.
Yeah, I guess. I think it's more like I can kind of forgive that.
Okay.
In the sense that I don't know. I guess it's sort of the same. I guess I'm more annoyed because J.J. Abrams is known for doing this.
Sure.
Lost was just one big cliffhanger. Nothing was answered.
Episode 9 is just a cliffhanger.
He was good in doing it in Fringe, but then the last season tried to tie stuff up, and I was like, no, this is not working out. You're not tying it up well. He starts everything so good, but he doesn't have answers to stuff, it seems like.
Sure.
It's like he goes on this really interesting, cool first and second act where he does all this awesome stuff, but he has such a hard time tying things up that he just kind of leaves it. And it's cool to leave people waiting, but it sucks for the next writer, especially with a trilogy.
Sure.
And, you know, I don't know how certain Lucas was with Empire Strikes Back and everything, you know, even just like, will this ever continue? Will anything ever? There had to be some sort of doubt at some point, you know, of just like, should we leave it open? Maybe yes or not. Who knows? But yeah. I don't know. I'm giving him harder time just because this is what he does every time. And I felt so bad for Rian Johnson, who did such a good job at doing the job by let's answer the questions. And everybody was like, oh my God, why did you answer these questions? Why'd you ruin my childhood? And it's like, he answered the questions. Like, why was Luke on an island? Because he was being a jerk.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to be part of this.
Why would he, what would he be there to meditate? Like, come on. I love that he threw the sword. I'm like, oh, that's cool. If this was J.J. Abrams, he'd be like holding it and be like, oh, I've just been sitting here meditating for a bunch of years. I'm ready to come back. And then you'd be like, oh, that's it. It's like with the Lost, where it's just like, why is there a polar bear here? Oh, it was just here from this one time when they had polar bears here. Like, that was the answer. Hello? Oh, they just ended up there? That was like, and I remember waiting for that answer for seasons. And then I stopped watching Lost. I went back and actually looked it up. And somebody was like, yeah, I just tested on polar bears there. That's why I was there.
I made a joke about there being a polar bear once in Lost, and I never have ever watched the show. And they're like, hey, I didn't know you watched it. And I was like, you're kidding, right? And they're like, no, there's a legit polar bear there. I was like, I'm a writer for Lost, baby.
I know. And it's like, it started out as such a cool, like, wow, something's going on this island. And then I just never answered it. And I look it up, it's just because it was there or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's his downfall. J.J. Abrams' downfall is he's so good, but he's not good at knowing the end before he starts. I feel like he starts writing, hear all this cool stuff, and then he doesn't wait to figure it out until the end.
Sure.
And it becomes, half-assed.
I don't know if he wrote on Mission Impossible 3. I know that was his directorial debut, but that movie at least is very much just like, here's the beginning, here's the end. And it's just done. And you're like, wow, that was really good. And there's there's never like a, like the questions that are presented are just that his wife is like, what do you do? And he's like, I work for this really weird, stupid agency, but don't worry about it because you're alive. Like,
exactly. I think it's funny because that kind of reminds me of Shyamalan in that, when you get into Hollywood, as a writer or director and stuff, you need to kind of follow a certain formula. Yeah. To even get your movie out there. And so what they're doing is they have a bunch of rules that they have to follow. That's why a lot of, big time people's first movies are very quote unquote boring when it comes to like style or whatever, because they need to sell something that a producer would be like, this will sell, let's make it. And so it's all very formulated. Yeah. But then once they try to go out, sometimes they go too far. So once they get that big fame or whatever, it's like, oh, that wasn't great. Yeah. And it's like, with Shyamalan, I feel like that's what happened. He got so big because of Unbreakable and because of The Sixth Sense. And then he had no rules. People be like, it's Shyamalan. We're going to give you all our money. Go do stuff. And he didn't get the framework of, your stories need a middle, start, middle, end. It needs to be this. It needs to go like this. That will sell movies. Instead, The Sixth Sense is so formula. It's like, okay, we start here, then this happens, here's the inciting incident, here's like the ultimate failure, and then here's the plot twist, then it's like so standard. Like the non-standard part would be if like midway we found out that he was a ghost, spoiler alert, and then the rest of the half would be like, what? Or like in the very, like he did it so formula, just like, we're going to do this, and in the end, he's just realizing he's a ghost. The end. Yep. Done. I don't think he would have done that if you look at like The Village, where she doesn't realize she's in the village until like the last 2 minutes. Yeah. And that's how it ends. And you're like, what happens? What exactly. Happens? Like, okay. And that would probably happen in the Sixth Sense, where he'd like find out he's a ghost the minute, and then it's like, oh, well, how can we explain everything? Now we're not going to explain it. Sure. Yeah. And I think that is sort of the problem with a lot of directors is that, they start off good. They have this big movie or movies, and then it just fall when they don't have. Very few directors do the opposite. Like you have David Fincher, who started off with Alien 3 and it was a disaster. But then he got 7, he got the second shot, and he went against everyone and said, please. He got the script that the studio did not want to make because they thought the head in the box was too much. He's like, no, I'm making this. And Brad Pitt came in and was like, we're making this. And they were like, oh, okay, it's Brad Pitt. We got to do it. And that proved to be the success, but that's not most directors. They have to do a formula. Like Reservoir Dogs is not really crazy. It's not overboard. It's very much like it starts and then we go back to the beginning. Sure. Like here's the end, and then we go back to the beginning, and then we go. It's not like Pulp Fiction where it's like he couldn't do that until he proved, I know how to do a movie by the textbook. you know? And I
Yeah.
think that's J.J. Abrams' problem. He started out textbook. Mission Impossible, it's a great movie, textbook,
Yeah.
you know?
That's true. That's true.
And then now he just got just do whatever you want, JJ. And it's just like, oh, somebody's
Yeah.
gonna be like, calm down.
Well, that's because he's in the TV writing mindset. Maybe that's the problem, because like he thinks that they'll just like, and they will make Star Wars forever, but like in TV you can be like, you can put stuff in the first like season that you're like, we'll answer this in like 3 or 4 seasons if we do well enough. But like in movies you're like, how many movies do I have to watch until I know the answer to this? Usually it's like 2 more maybe, but you can't be like, we'll be in the 5th movie, and it's like, no, you can't. Like yeah, it's not good. I also think of like Colin Trevorrow, who like he made a ton of money with Jurassic World, and then for a while they're like, you're going to direct episode 9 for Star Wars, and then he made like his little independent movie or whatever, and it was like, people don't like this, and like they're like, we're not going to let you direct this anymore. Like
exactly.
Like, come back. Yeah, directors, man, so fascinating. I've started to like really kind of look at directors more so as opposed to like leading actors or actresses, because like they are the ones who you're really honestly seeing through their eyes. You know, so like unless you really like a director, sometimes you can see your favorite actor in a movie, but you might be like, that was horrible. Like you're like, well, that's because you don't like that.
It's interesting how you know, famous or it's interesting to see the difference between, you know, a movie where the actor is the main focus or like the actual movie, you know, like you have actors and then you have just like stars.
Yes.
And it's funny because we talked about Pirates of the Caribbean that started out as a movie, but then it became Johnny Depp's movie.
Yes.
Which is like, I hate that that's like a thing, but I mean that's been happening ever since, you know, dawn of cinema. Once they started in early Hollywood to get these big names, they were like the focus. It's not like about the movie. It's not, I mean, this is a bad example because it's a great movie, but it's not about the plot of Some Like It Hot. It's about, it's a Marilyn Monroe movie, you know?
Yeah.
And it had the other, I always forget their names, the 2 guys in the movie that are also like, they were the big stars and like, they were these like really masculine actors. Everybody kind of wanted to see in a dress because it's funny. But that was the sell. It wasn't like written by and directed by whatever. Because, I mean, back then it was studios. They were just rent them in. And that's what TV is now, you know? When you look at TV, the director edits the scripts and yells action. They don't really do a lot. It's the writers and producers who decide this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what... but yeah, I think directors is getting more important in Hollywood because there's a lack of style because a lot of people go through the same kind of... And I think movies can be good if they go through the textbook way of structuring a movie, especially writers, or just like, like I was talking about the movie Good Time, where it's like, you need establishing shots for people to understand things. Yeah. You know, there's certain textbook things, but at the same time, there's a lack of personality and style. And that's what I didn't like about, one of the things I didn't like about Dunkirk, like it didn't feel like a Nolan movie.
Sure.
Because it was very static. I love that he has always these like beautiful, you know, large wide shots. He loves wide shots, right? That's his thing. Batman on top of the building and like, you know, all of those, he loves that. He doesn't do close-ups. But this felt just like, Dunkirk felt like a collection of those. And then it was just mid shots here and there. And I'm like, that's not Nolan though. Yeah. He goes from like fast paced to suddenly it's just this beautiful like panoramic view of something. And then we're going in and doing other stuff. And then we're back. He was just like, here's this big thing. And here's this big thing. And over here's this, you know, I love it when they have personalities. And yeah, as you said, like it makes the movie more interesting. Yeah. But like, what about you? Like what directors are you watching?
You know, it's sad because like back in the day, I would say Peter Jackson, and because obviously Lord of the Rings, it really like it shaped a lot of like my love for, you know, movies. Mm-hmm. And King Kong was good. It was okay. And now like it's weird because like I saw him literally, and they even talk about this behind the scenes, put like track in front of the train for The Hobbit and try to make it work. And like thinking, if only they would have given you the same time that like you needed for Lord of the Rings and been like, you know what, take your time, make 2 movies, don't make 3 or whatever. And just like, you know, and now that Mortal Engines is coming up, I need to see another trailer for that one because like the only one I saw, that movie is such a hard sell. It's like cities eating cities. And I'm
Is
like,
that what it's about?
I think so. And they're like,
Wow.
I'm sure there's way more to it, and I don't want to be reductive, but I'm like, I feel like you could do so much more. Like, I feel like he's such a talented guy, and like, obviously, it was a labor of love for more than just him being a director. So many people, being a part of that.
Yeah.
But more recently, honestly, I really like how the Russos shoot movies. Like
Yeah.
the Russo brothers, like ever since Winter Soldier came out, and I loved the very first Captain America, the first Avenger, which is just like an homage, just like an old kind of corny movie. But then Winter Soldier came out, and there was an edge to it, and I was like, these are the people who helped do some of the episodes of like Community, and then they did like Civil War, and I was like, how are you guys juggling this? And then they did Infinity War, and I'm like, I'm just so impressed. Like, it's just the way they handle all their characters with equal parts love is just it's very impressive. It's like, gosh, I love it.
I mean, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure they do. And I think having the brothers there, I just wonder what their talks are like, just like sitting there like, oh cool, we have like 30 of these people in this movie. Perfect, cool, we can do this. This is like,
I have huge respect for what they did with Infinity War.
Yeah, oh my gosh, an undertaking. Insane. Yeah. That it's even.
And also, it's funny with that movie because there are all these people, right? But technically, they're all side characters. The protagonist is Thanos because he's doing everything, which I think is so. That's like, same with Pirates of the Caribbean. We're gonna make someone who's not the most popular or expected protagonist, and we're gonna kind of hide their control through these people everybody's coming to see.
Yep.
Orlando Bloom just out of Lord of the Rings. Oh my God, I gotta go see him. He's so hot or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Classic.
It's like great. And then
Russos, that's good.
Yeah, those are the guys I've been watching lately, just because I love the superhero films, and those are the names that keep coming up that I'm like, yeah, I really like what you guys have been doing, especially with Cap, who is like one of my favorite Marvel characters in the MCU, I should say. And I just love his movies. Like, all of them to me are just wonderful. I just love all of them. I'm like, they're so good. They're all very different, but I really like all of them.
Yeah.
So, Russo brothers. They're the guys I guess I watch mostly right now.
Mm-hmm. That's a really cool answer. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I try. I was like thinking about it because it's like, it's hard because they kind of go through a lot of directors pretty quickly. And I think they just talked about rehiring the same director from the first Black Panther to come back and do that. I don't know if it's Ryan Coogler.
Yes.
I might be wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I was like, that's a no-brainer, boys. Like, I was like, Kevin Feige immediately signed him on because I was like, clearly he did something right there.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to see more of that, and also, I'll give some respect to Patty Jenkins, who did Wonder Woman. Like, I'm really excited to see what they do with their sequel because it was like, we're back. Let's go. Like, that
would be interesting. I like that you're all about like the superhero directors.
Because I know that is like the big thing right now, and it's hard because like I love Harry Potter to some degree, but like they just kept switching out directors, so it's kind of like you got to pick a few that you like. But they're very different tonally and how they're shot and how they're kind of handled. And at least with these ones, I can say, I know these guys did the same. That's the same thing.
I mean, there's a reason the third Harry Potter is the best one.
Oh,
in my opinion. I mean, it's obvious. That's the one with style.
Yeah, it does have style.
I mean, the two first ones are fun. It's like, it's a family. It's just so homey, but I was gonna try and rewatch them last year, and I remember like these are so boring. They're so family friendly. And then the third comes, like, whoa, this is rad! Like things are happening, and it's kind of scary. The first one isn't scary. You see Voldemort, and you're like, he's on a head.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
oh, whoa, that's horrifying. Yeah. And it's like, and then they do like the points to Gryffindor and the house wins. It's so homey. It's just like wholesome. And
I will say Voldemort in the forest feeding on a unicorn is kind of freaky because there's like it's like a shade, or he like comes with like a cloak and he like floats towards them. But that's like the only moment where you're like, oh, okay. But yeah, in the third one, Hermione's punching people.
Yeah.
Like, stuff's going down, man. Like, cranks it up.
The mentors scared the hell out of me. They were horrifying.
Sure, I think the ring wraiths got to me first. So when I saw the Dementors, I was like, we couldn't think of anything else, JK? Like, I was like,
well, I mean, to JK's defense, they were kind of, how are you supposed to do that differently? I mean, it's sort of like that argument is also like the ring wraiths are technically the Grim Reapers, They're all the same. They're all the same.
Yeah.
It's a guy in the cape, whatever.
Yeah.
But no. Man, Russo brothers are doing good. I didn't even it's hard to think about that because all I think about is Kevin. You always think of
I
Kevin.
know. I think of Kevin, and I know he's watching. Kevin, thanks for watching. I'll get you on the show one day. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I love you, Kevin.
We love you, Kevin.
Good stuff.
I keep telling him I want to try out for Ghost Rider. I want it to
Yeah.
be 95% CG. You could like
Nice.
maybe less than 5% of just my face. I just want to go around telling people they're guilty. I'll do the voice. We'll just go punch people as a flaming skeleton. It's gonna make some money. Just have me pop up in Doctor Strange 2. That's when you do the show ups of like the lesser knowns, because you're kind of talking about that. How about you start introducing some of these new characters within the trilogies of these other guys a little bit more?
Interesting.
That's what I want, because I kind of did that with Falcon and Winter Soldier, but he's like, okay, sure, but like introduce Ghost Rider and Doctor Strange 2, please. Like that makes perfect sense. Like, that's my dream. Yeah,
it's a good dream.
Yeah, no Nicolas Cage though. He doesn't. It's not Nick. Nicolas Cage is out.
Aww,
I love Nick. He's gonna be the new Superman. Henry Cavill's out. Nick's in. It's gonna be great.
But Henry's so gorgeous.
He is gorgeous.
Here's the thing: Cavill is a great Superman. I think he would have done a good job if he got the right material.
Yeah, and
I think there's nothing wrong with Henry Cavill. I think he's getting a lot of crap. Also, there we go. The same worry I have with Captain Marvel is staticness. You're an alien, and you're not supposed to have a personality, and it becomes boring after a while. And that's what happened with Superman. I feel like he became boring.
Oh, it's sad too. Batman vs Superman. He's like moping the whole time, and you're like, he's so sad.
Exactly, and it's like you could have given him something. And I'm hoping that Captain Marvel won't be all just static and like static jokes, because it's Marvel, so it has to be jokes.
Yeah, there have to be jokes. Yeah.
So, which I kind of wish it didn't. I wish they had one movie that's like super serious. That would be cool. Just one where they're just like, there's nothing fun about this. This is DC, Nolan serious. Just, here's the thing. If you want to talk about something new that's happened, and the trailer for the new Joker movie, I am so here for it.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that came out. Cool.
The teaser, for Joaquin Phoenix.
Sure.
It's probably old. I rewatched it yesterday because I'm so into it.
I hope it's good.
I think it's going to be good. It looks like they're going, back to his origin story, like the Killing Joke type, like stand-up comic. I want to do him for Halloween, which is like scary because the problem is, what if the movie sucks, right?
Who cares? The Joker's a beloved character. Go for it. Who cares?
I kind of like his I love that they did the design of what's his face? I forget the name of the real life serial killer. That was a clown.
I can't think of it either, but
clown serial Gacy, obviously Gacy. I have a fascination with serial killers. I'm one of those people.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
I'm very interested in their psychology because it's like the opposite of me. It's the complete opposite. That's why we're interested in them, right?
Yeah,
that's why people watch Making a Murderer on Netflix. You watch it because it's so foreign.
Yeah.
Like I love that they did the Gacy instead of just classic Joker that we've seen 100 times. And I feel like that's going to be the metaphor for it because the music is in the 70s. Gacy was a killer in 74. I think that's when he got, that kind of era. So I was just like, they're doing a Gacy 70s. Oh, I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked. If they're making him super evil, I'm here for it. Make Joker so evil.
Yeah, I think the little, the smile that goes just to straight serious just is so, it's Joaquin Phoenix, I think, is a really good choice for this cast. And I'm just like, I hope they just figure it out, because I don't want them to be like, hey, you know what? Marvel's doing the shared universe. We have to do it too. Because now they're like, we're doing Worlds of DC. So it's a multiverse. So they're not always going to be the same. But just find 2 or 3 good things to build your foundation on. Because right now it's very shaky. It's
it's non-existent. Yeah. I think it's just going to be good because it looks like it's a serious movie. And that was my problem with Suicide Squad. I remember the first trailer, the I Started a Joke, whatever trailer, that was so dark and gritty. And I'm like, yes, these are all really sad characters. But then they did Bohemian Rhapsody, and I was like, I'm not here for it. Why are you making all these sad characters funny? The jokes aren't funny. Harley Quinn is super over-sexualized. She's supposed to wear little clothes and be sexy, but when she bends over and grabs jewelry, I'm like, no, you're going too far. She's supposed to be hot. She's supposed to dress like that, but not do those things. And turning Diablo, would you put a character like him in a funny buddy comedy heist movie. So that's why I like that. Okay, let's put Joker in a super serious movie. Like his backstory is so sad.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
so
Yeah.
sad. I remember reading The Killing Joke. I'm like, oh my God, I feel so bad for you. Like, what happened? And so to put him in that movie, that's why the only reason I'm worried with James Gunn. I love James Gunn. I hope they don't make any more Guardians films. I don't want him to. They're perfect the way they are. But I don't want him to make a funny Suicide Squad because we've seen it doesn't work. It doesn't really, unless they remove some of the characters.
Which they will.
I hope they will.
They'll kill him. They'll just blow him up if they want to.
Katana, why do we need her?
My favorite introduction in the whole movie is she hops on the back of a helicopter and Rick Flagg's like,
Katana.
This is Katana. She's got a sword that can steal souls. It's like, wait, I got questions for everybody. I'm like,
it's just so bad. It's so hurt. It was funny because every other character got like 5 introductions. And she just jumps on the plane. This is Katana. It's like, what? Why should I care about her? She has a sword. Why did you spend so long on the dude who just steals stuff and Harley Quinn just steals stuff or whatever? Will Smith is good at aiming.
Yep,
then you have this person with a sword that's, saves the souls of people. Now we're gonna give her like fucking. Sorry for cursing. Am I allowed
that's fine. Who cares? You do that. Yeah, it's fine. I'm just so mad at this movie. That's okay. You should be.
Joel Kinnaman just has to like introduce her in 2 minutes.
Yep.
And like Harley acting all dumb.
Yeah, the problem, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but the trailer company who made the Bohemian Rhapsody cut,
movie.
They like edited the movie, so like when you watch it, you're like, what am I watching here? And I'm sorry, they will for sure make it a funny Suicide Squad 2. They will, if James Gunn is directing it, it will be very witty but hopefully it'll be more cohesive and there'll actually be heart to it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Nothing.
The only scene I was remotely intrigued by, I think, in Suicide Squad was when they were talking at the bar.
Yep, that's a good moment.
Like, and that was the only funny moment when like Captain Boomerang, who cares? But when he just left, I was like, that's cool. That's funny. He was like, screw this.
Yeah,
the only problem with the movie was that he came back. I'm like, why are you coming back? You should go out. Like, he was like, screw this. I'm going. Bye. I wish he just did that. When he came back, I'm like, why do you care about these people? Why are you coming back? It doesn't make any sense. You got a boomerang. You're gonna, anyways. But that was the only moment where I was like, okay, they're talking. It's a friendship maybe starting. They're all drinking different drinks. That says something about a person. Which it's funny because that's something I didn't realize until I did a script writing class. What you drink says so much about you.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Without thinking about it, like if a guy orders, a whiskey in a movie, you think of him as like a masculine, burly guy. If he orders a beer, you're like, he's that kind of guy.
That's true.
You do think like the different types of glasses changes how you look at the fact that Harley got this big colorful drink with like umbrellas, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The fact that Captain Boomerang got a beer, that makes sense because he doesn't care. It's kind of that. I think Diablo got like whiskey or something. He got a small glass, and that signifies he's going through a lot of stuff. He's drinking this super strong drink, right? Yeah. Drinks have a lot of things to like say about people, or just getting a glass of milk or whatever. Like it makes, but that was the only scene that I had remotely interest in.
Sure, yeah.
I think that. And so I wish Gunn the very best of luck.
Yeah. Good luck, Gunn.
You literally, I felt bad for Rian Johnson. I feel bad for James Gunn. I was so sad because it looked like David Ayer posted something on Twitter that kind of alluded to Suicide Squad not being the movie he wanted. And from the looks of it, it looked like he wanted a serious movie. But the studio was like, Batman v Superman didn't do well, and that's because it wasn't funny, which is clearly not why it was bad.
Yeah.
And I feel like he then had to turn it funny, and I don't think that was his intention. If you look at movies like Bright, I didn't like Bright, but I at least saw David Ayer in it, and it was serious. It wasn't funny. It wasn't the jokey whatever. It was the type of same aesthetic, but it wasn't this dumb jokes and the soundtrack that is just out of control bad.
Yeah,
Out of control.
I went back. I made a video a long time ago about a comparison between that film and Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was kind of talking. The last point I made is like how music is a big influencer in both, and that in Guardians it's part of the plot. It makes sense. In freaking Suicide Squad, they just like it's like, oh yeah, we've got an Eminem song. Let's just drop it right here, and it's just like,
It's so bad.
but why? Like, why
I
would you do
know.
that? It's like you're killing me. You're really killing me.
I really wish that I could become a film. I would love to be a film professor, just so I could show that movie the first day and say, here's what we're not going to do.
Yeah, just play the whole thing and you're like,
Yeah, I do like introduction to film and be like, okay, for our first class, we're going to watch Suicide Squad and look at what not to do. Everything here is wrong, including the studio taking David Ayer and be like, this is what you're going to make. And him probably being like, oh, man.
yeah, exactly.
I wanted to make this serious, scary movie about these sad people. Like the teaser showed us. That was funny.
Yeah.
If it was meant to be funny, it would have started funny.
Yep. And also should be, if they do a sequel, which they will do, and they'll probably still make a big scale, Suicide Squad has always been typically a little bit more like a smaller scale thing, like especially like the threat, I should say, that they're going against, because usually the people on the squad aren't like, it's like Harley's got a baseball bat. She shouldn't be fighting someone who's got like super magic powers that can end the world. It's like,
where's Superman and Batman? Why would you send these people to a threat that's about to destroy the world?
And they're going to be the defense against somebody like Superman. I'm like, you're going to have them be the... okay.
Yeah, it's so silly. That's why Nolan's Dark Knight worked, because the threat was these two boats can blow up. One has people, one has prisoners. What will happen? That was the threat. It was so small. It wasn't like, and you cared about them, and you cared about Batman, and Joker was running around being, the shadow of Batman. They both want the same thing, but they both want it differently. And so like, oh, it was so great. Yeah. But now every superhero movie is like, everything's destroyed. Here's Ultron. Ultron.
I like Ultron, some bits of it, and I love James Spader.
I mean, yeah, I do like his I remember liking the trailer a lot.
Oh my god, the trailer like is so creepy, and it's like everybody's gonna die. Like, it's like I
love the Age of Ultron trailer, and I love the little fight where the camera goes around, classic Joss Whedon style.
Yep, and the Hulk versus Hulkbuster, one of the greatest superhero fights. I love him just watching throwing down. It's a funny fight too.
I just wish the stakes weren't the end of the world.
Yeah, with Avengers though, I think they just can't help themselves now.
Yeah, I mean, this one makes sense, obviously, Thanos.
Sure. Yeah.
But I feel like, Ultron didn't have to be the end of the world. It could have been the end of a city. It
also should have spanned more than like 3 days, because like the Age of Ultron should be like you're on the run for like weeks and stuff, and you're like, we can't stop him. We just can't stop. It's like we figured it out.
Yeah, it's just every time like even Marvel movies have like end of the world scenarios, I always keep thinking, where are the rest of people? Where are your Avengers? Why are they not on this?
Yeah, exactly.
Like with Doctor Strange, why is it just you? All this crazy stuff is happening. Are they just not listening in? Like, can they not see what's happening? Why couldn't that have been a more small scale? It could have taken place where he trained. Why'd it have to take place,
Yeah, that's true. They'd have been like, China, it looks like Hong Kong just got like ripped apart. Like, it's like, we should probably go check that out.
But nobody does, because I just remembered Mads Mikkelsen is in that. I love him. Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh, Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah, he's.
I'm saying it the way you'd say it in Scandinavia.
Oh, I apologize. That's why I didn't understand. When you said football is like soccer, I was like, I don't understand this foreign speech.
It's like all of those actors. Peter Stormare is like Peter Stormare. And Mads Mikkelsen. I'm excited for Death Stranding. I have no idea what it is. But
good. I'm glad that you're excited about it.
I think it's funny because I feel like I wonder if when it comes out, it's going to be so weird that critics have nothing. They don't have any choice but to give it a good grade, even though they don't, or a good review, even though they don't understand it. Because it's like, it's Hideo. It's like, I didn't understand it, but it's Hideo. So 10 out of 10.
I don't know. If I did it, I'd probably rip it apart, but that's just me. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Hideo Kojima. I think he's desperately overrated. I really think so. Wow. I've been trying to go through some of his older work, and I'm like, I get that people love you. I get it, but that doesn't give you free reign, like with Peter Jackson or anybody else who's like a creative. That doesn't allow you to just make whatever you
Oh,
want at any time. And I'm like, yes, it's great. Slapping
yeah.
your name on the box, and I love it. It's like,
I
no,
liked that. I like that you're, I'm not, I like Hideo, but also me too. I'm not like, wow, it's the best, whatever. He's
yeah,
not, but yeah, I'm critical to it, but yeah,
you gotta
it's
be critical of everything, right? Like that's what I
yeah,
try to be.
critical of everything. I might dress up as that. That is my backup Halloween costume because it's
Still a
literally
cool
just
costume. Hey, I
it's
can
just
appreciate that.
black stuff on your eyes and like find a baby or something.
Dude, that okay, but as a costume, I totally get why you want to do that, and it's definitely intriguing. And I've met some people like doing these shows who love Kojima and all that stuff. So I'm like, you know what? Good. I'm glad that you love it. I'm not gonna come over here and be like, you suck for loving it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I love you for loving it. I just don't. So it's okay. Like
And
it's
it is scary to like something before it's out.
oh for sure. That's I think the hardest thing with some of these, especially with like some of the games. Like when you see like the new God of War, the new Spider-Man, you can be like, okay, I can kind of guess where this is gonna go. But with this, it's
Mhm.
like, um,
Yeah, I
well,
have no
he's
idea.
made. Yeah, it's like, well, he did the. I mean, he's done this, so what is it going to be? And even he doesn't want to talk about it. It's like he'll in interviews he'll just be like, "I'm not going to tell," and it's like, just give us
I
something.
know.
Like,
And I mean, it's even worse with movies because, like, yeah, I'm so excited about Glass. I'm also petrified. I'm excited about Joker, also petrified. I am so excited about the new Godzilla because
yes,
I am a massive Godzilla fan. When I
yes,
saw Mothra, I literally cried. I
yes.
literally cried, and I was so excited. And then like it took me half an hour. I'd seen the trailer like 10 times, and I was like,
Sophia, yes.
what if they've ruined this?
No, don't worry.
Mothra has always been my favorite.
I love that there's like
Always
this
my
cult
favorite.
following for Mothra because like when I grew up, like Mothra was like I like watched the old films all the time,
Yeah.
and I remember thinking like, okay, Mothra's sometimes the hero, and then
Hmm.
like sometimes was against like because Godzilla would be like the bad guy, and then sometimes they'd team up. But people love Mothra,
Yeah.
and yeah, I love Godzilla.
Yeah.
I did a huge. I don't usually break down trailers, but I made a whole thing for that one because I love that trailer and just going
Nice.
through it. I was like, "There's Rodan," and I was like,
Hmm.
"And there's King Ghidorah. They're actually going to try to do King
I
Ghidorah," and I'm
know.
like, "You guys are mad people, and I love it so
I
much."
know. I am, yeah, excited and nervous. I hope Millie does I think she does a good job. I think they were smart at picking a child actor that knows how to act. Fun
Yeah.
fact, she was on Grey's Anatomy one episode.
Oh, really?
I was like, what the hell are you doing here?
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I have mixed feelings about her, but
Yeah, me too. I'm like, I don't care about any of the humans in those really. That's why I hated in
yeah,
the first movie. I hated
it was
the
about humans.
the cardboard performance of freaking of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch and
Yeah.
their love relationship. I was like, go to
Love.
Godzilla, please, back to Godzilla. Like,
I think that's why they chose a family relationship in this one, which is
yeah,
smarter than doing a romantic because there's no time. There's no time for it. I think the only monster movie where romance was done right was Cloverfield because that was like he was trying to find her because he cared so much about her.
yeah,
But they also were stressed out about the monster. It wasn't just like, I love you. It was just like, okay, we all got to get out anyways. We're
yeah,
going to do this. Nobody knows what they're doing. There's crazy monsters here. Nobody knows anything. But here
yeah,
it was just like, oh, you're going to war. I'm going to miss you or whatever. It's like, I don't care.
yeah.
So static. I cared about everybody in Cloverfield for some reason. Because, yeah, it felt so real at the time. Because it was handheld shot and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But
That was a more intimate vibe.
yeah, no, yeah, Godzilla is going to be. The only thing I liked about the 2014 was it?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I think the only thing I liked about it was we didn't see Godzilla overly much, so it was
Sure.
always so exciting when Godzilla was there because that was I love the one from the 90s. It's like such a guilty pleasure. Matthew Broderick and oh my god.
Hilarious. I love it.
But we saw
great.
Godzilla all the time.
Yeah, you do see
So
Godzilla.
after a while, I was like, yeah, I've seen him run around now for an hour. I'm kind of, yeah,
Sure.
I've seen him run. I've seen him run. Here he is. Let's go. Or she, I guess, in this one, because she lays eggs. So Godzilla is
Yeah.
technically a woman in this one,
I guess. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, something
which
happened.
I think makes more sense
Sure.
that
Yeah.
it would be a female, because yeah, like
At least in
usually,
that one.
because I mean,
Yeah.
usually a lot of animals are bigger as females.
Typically, yeah.
A lot of lizards, a lot of spiders, So it kind of makes sense that if Godzilla were real it would be a woman. And yeah, laying eggs, like that was a cool thing. Them running around the stadium, I was so into that. That was super dope. And but yeah, I hope that this one we won't see Godzilla overly much, or like all the I want to see the monsters separately and then together, and not just
I think that's the thing. They'll
Yeah.
show enough of each of them like a little bit, and so it'll feel like there's a lot of monster time. And then when they finally get together at the end, it'll be
I
it will be
hope they do.
stunning. Like that shot of freaking DC, and there's Rodan in the sky, and there's lightning and stuff, and you're like, it all goes to hell. Like it's so good. I'm like,
I'm so excited.
finally. I'm like,
I wonder Mothra's role. I just
wait, Mothra can be queen of the monsters, and Godzilla can be the king or whatever. Like, who cares? Like, yeah, Mothra's got some plot armor, or fan armor, because I don't think they'll hurt Mothra. I don't think they'll kill Mothra.
I think they're hiding Mothra because I think she's gonna be the one who's gonna swoop in, and something's gonna be her, because they were so, the trailer was so ambiguous.
Yes, I love it so much.
But they did show, Rodan flying, and here's King Ghidorah doing stuff. So I feel like, and we saw Godzilla doing stuff. But I feel like maybe Godzilla goes there, but then maybe Mothra will swoop in and do something. The only thing I'm like iffy about is whether or not Millie's character is going to be like the twins.
Oh, yeah.
That she's going to be, because I'm not sure I'm up for that.
I think they're going to focus on her too much, and that'll be my biggest gripe. Honestly, unfortunately, with that film, it'll just be her running and screaming, because I think they'll do way too much of that.
She's pretty good at screaming, though.
She is. I just don't.
She's great at screaming.
I just don't like the whole, like, take it from a kid's perspective and run around screaming while, like, the cool things are in the background. Like, that really frustrates me.
Like War of the Worlds with Dakota Fanning.
Is it them? Is it them? Who else would it be, Dakota? Like, oh my gosh. Oh,
That movie was so funny. It's just her screaming for 2 hours. I'm like, yeah. She doesn't cry. She just screams. I'm like, kids cry. They don't scream.
The whole time.
I felt bad for her voice.
I felt bad for Tom Cruise. I had to sit and carry her around the whole movie, just screaming in his ears, just holding him.
I don't feel bad for Tom Cruise.
You don't feel bad for him? Well, that's okay.
No, he's a Scientologist. We keep forgetting. We can't forgive him because he's, doing all these awesome stunts. Yeah, respect for that, whatever. But he's a Scientologist. We got to realize, and that Scientologists do a lot of really, really bad stuff.
You broke your ankle for my entertainment, but I do not support you, sir.
That's my opinion. I'm kind of like, yeah, I had fun with the new Mission Impossible. Again, Henry Cavill doing cool stuff.
Yeah. I also think Tom Cruise, like, I always believe that he's committed to his roles. Like, as an actor, I feel like he's always that person. He's always like, I am Ethan Hunt. And you're like, I believe you. Like,
but the only problem I had with the new Mission Impossible was that they shot that in Norway, but said it was India. And I was like,
sorry. I can't stop them. We can go put a little subtitle that says, like, actually Norway.
Here's the thing. That place, it's called Preikestolen, is like our tourist place. Like, I have not gone to it either. I've dreamt of going there, just seeing this. And they shoot there, and they make this whole big thing about we're the only ones who got to shoot there. And we call it India? What? Just shoot on a hilltop in India. Like, why couldn't that have been Norway? Why couldn't they not have gone to Norway as nature researchers or like anything else? They could have rewritten that entire thing.
Well, yeah, it wasn't like, because it wouldn't be so much of like a true like world-ending potential threat. And like, that's what they're selling in the movie, that if they messed up the stuff in Kashmir, it would like mess up like all of China, and like the rest of the world would be like screwed. Because like, if you do it in Norway, it'd be like they screwed Norway, and they're like, you leave Norway and Sweden alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. It was disappointing.
I'm sorry. I understand that, but at least it got featured, right?
No. People are gonna go to
play.
India and be like, "Where is it?"
Like, it doesn't exist here. I heard they had a showing there too, which is cool.
Yeah, they did, which is awesome. I just think, I think Norway, needs to go on the map when it comes to places to shoot, because they have been so rigid about having films shoot in Norway, which is such a pity because it's so beautiful. But yeah, whatever. And like, the only movie we've had in recent years was like The Snowman, and it was terrible.
Sure.
Because it took place in Norway. It's written by a Norwegian writer, but I was like, That's our advertisement. And Frozen
Sorry.
isn't really an advertisement.
I know Disney wants it to be.
I
Like, they're
know,
like,
but it's not. That's not what it looks like. So I was so happy when I was like, wow, they're showing Norway's beauty in Mission Impossible. It's like, no, it's India.
I'm sorry. Well, I'll always know it as Norway, and everybody who listens to this will know it as Norway. So we're starting to get the
Yes.
group back, huh? Slowly but surely, we'll get them back on our side, and then I'll have Tom. I'll be
Yeah.
like, Tom, who's watching? Tom, thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching, Tom.
I would love to have you on, but just can you go back and just maybe tweak the plot a little? You can edit some stuff, right? It'd be
Yeah,
fine. Just say
I
it's-
won't be here because you're a Scientologist, but happy to have you, Tom.
Exactly. Oh, I'll be like, yeah, sure. I probably won't ask him about what he thinks about the world. I'll probably just ask him about his movie career.
That's what makes me. You know what? That's what you should do for Halloween. Just watch Tom Cruise movies and think about how creepy it is that he's so lovable, but he's done all this absolutely terrible things.
That's
if you listen to Leah Remini is her Scientologist show.
I haven't.
Like, they are messed up. Scientology is dangerous and messed up and like not a laughing matter. And then like you watch Tom Cruise and like, hey, it's funny. And it's like, it's so creepy. It's horrifying. Like, I sat there the entire movie. Like, I just watched stuff about Scientology before seeing the Mission Impossible. So it's kind of like, it's fun, but yeah,
sure.
why do I like him?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, you could say that about like Johnny Depp being bad, and like a lot of these other people. It's hard because like you don't want to think about like who they really are, what they've really done, because you might like their performance or you might like their acting abilities. And I try to not do that. You know, I try not to think about that while I'm in it because I try to be in the movie. But I can see where that's problematic, especially if it like really bothers you. So,
I mean, it bothers me now that he made Norway India.
Yeah,
it's like
that was the final straw.
Yeah, now it's like, now it's done, Tom Cruise.
You're done, Tom.
Not only are you a bad person, but you made Norway India. I am done with you. Gross.
All right.
Go rest your old body.
Those are the Halloween films we recommend you watch. Those are the ones we say.
So we make you want to watch Pirates of the Caribbean, Avengers Infinity War, Mission Impossible. What else have we talked about? Like TV shows?
Yeah, we did talk about a few TV shows. You could watch Channel Zero.
Arrow.
You can watch Arrow. You can watch The Mask of Zorro.
Everything is like non-Halloween.
It's some of them dress up. We're gonna call them costumes. We're still gonna call it a Halloween episode.
That's true. Life is Halloween now, so Halloween is for fun stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, so, you know, this is a segment that we like to call Timekillers here, but like, what are you watching and playing right now? I know you say you don't have a lot of time to like watch and play games and do all this sort of thing, but like, what do you do to kind of like relieve stress from work and school and all that?
I play Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
Whether arena or in person. Usually arena because, it's easy to jump in between classes and homework and stuff. I watch Grey's Anatomy to chillax because it's brain dead and I love it, and it's so factually wrong, but it's fun.
That's wrong.
Yeah, I watch Handmaid's Tale now. I've just started it just because I've heard so much about it, and it's an actual quality show. It's not. I mean, Grey's Anatomy is fun, but this is an actual like show. You know. Yeah. It's like The Newsroom, which I just rewatched, and still an incredible.
Oh my gosh, The Newsroom is so good.
So good.
Jeff Daniels is
He's incredible.
Yeah,
he's like, who knew that the dude from Dumb and Dumber could be
and he's
so good.
Also, like Olivia Munn, I didn't really have a ton of respect for her before I saw the show, and I was like, she's actually pretty good.
She's one of those actresses, unfortunately, who've been typecasted, basically.
Yeah.
Into the hot chick, and I feel bad for her. I think that's like, I mean,
yeah, but she's also like the hot nerd, and she was offered a role in an X-Men film, and I think heck, I would have taken Psylocke. If they're like, Jimmy, do you want to be Psylocke? I'd be like, I would love it. You know, I've
actually seen that movie.
Oh, you have seen that movie?
I have not seen it.
You haven't seen it? Oh,
no.
She doesn't really get a lot to do.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, she's just there to be sexy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of like Mystique in the first movies.
Yep, and now they just have her relegated to just her face makeup because I think Jennifer Lawrence is like, I'll do these movies, but I need to have a full jumpsuit on. I'm not letting you paint my entire body every 5 minutes.
That makes sense. And I mean, it makes sense because she was technically walking around naked. That's going to be really uncomfortable to fight in.
Yeah,
and like do all that stuff. I've always felt bad for Rebecca, I forget her last name.
Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah, who played in the original because you're kicking and fighting and your boobs are out and like you're wearing probably a thong, but like that's not comfortable. They were just thinking of it looks hot. So I think that's cool. Give Mystique a cut. Why would she walk around naked? Why would she?
Sure. Well, I mean, now she just walks around as Jennifer Lawrence in a cool outfit most of the time. Like she doesn't, they don't really change her at all. They're like, come on in.
If I were to, that would be my magic power that I would want is shapeshift. I would love. That's like people say flying or invisibility. I would shapeshift 100%.
Oh, really?
And like I think like if I was just gonna be me, I wouldn't walk around just like naked. Even if I had like cool crazy scales and stuff, I'd be like, I'm gonna turn my body into non-crazy, or if I'm gonna wear crazy, I'm gonna put on pants.
Yeah, sure.
Put on a top. Like it's weird. Sure, if I'm gonna shapeshift, I might as well take it all off. It's gonna fall off anyways. I don't know how that works, but whatever.
Sure, yeah. Like sometimes you can like manipulate. We'll say with your shapeshifting, you can put clothes on you. It just looks like you have clothes on you too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So why not? Yeah. And like even if I could do that, I would magically. Anyways, I'm rambling again. It's like my favorite thing to do. Okay. Yeah, I play Overwatch. I play Magic. I said that. I'm going to watch a bunch of Halloween movies. Hopefully, if I have time. And then that's what I do. Cool. And I say I'm gonna end up watching some serious movie, and then I end up watching something I've seen 100 times before. That's like my biggest detriment. Same with games. We'll try a new game, and then like 2 minutes later, I'm sitting, playing Overwatch again or playing Magic, and just like instead of trying something new. Although I did go to Indicate, and they have a lot of cool stuff, and I'm super excited about it.
Yeah,
I love indies.
Well, sometimes hard to pick like between something you'll enjoy versus like trying something that you could either love or hate, and you're like movies, especially for me. I just like look at a bunch of them, like I should watch this one, but
also it's time, especially with games, the single player games. Since that's my favorite, it's like okay, if I choose to start, I don't know, Mafia. I have Mafia 3 waiting on my PS4, but I know it's gonna take me so long, so many hours. Maybe even just to start it, that was the thing I hated about GTA 5 is once you start a mission, you can't quit. Otherwise, you're gonna have to. And that was exhausting. I was like, and then like I would be stuck on a mission. It's like I played for 2 hours. I want to get out of here. Can't do it. That's why I like the smaller games. It's like it's adult games because. Back when I was a games journalist full time or whatever, and then I had time to sit and play these. I had to. It was my job. I would love to do that again.
Yeah.
But right now, it's not my job. I can't sit. I want to play Spider-Man more than anything in my body, but I know I can't do it because I'll sit for 4 days straight and not do anything else. I have to work. I have work to do.
Yeah.
What are you playing? What are you playing? What are you watching?
So let's see. Right now, I'm watching. Speaking about animation, we did way earlier. I'm watching the second full season of Seven Deadly Sins on Netflix, which is this anime that I really like. They put out this 4-episode season 2 a while back, and it was garbage because it wasn't like a full season, and it was just like filler. And if you hate filler like I do, because like you said, you hate like filler movies, filler anime feels like I wasted just a half hour of just like they did nothing. We did nothing, and I'm like,
that makes sense.
And they do that for hundreds of episodes in longer form anime. It'll just be like, yep, this next 200 episodes is filler. And it's like, I get it from a business standpoint, but it kills me. But I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey,
cool.
Which has been good. That game, it's crazy because like you can see Assassin's Creed here. I've been there since the beginning, and to see where this franchise has gone is like it's insane how like big and RPG like it is nowadays. It's like, oh my gosh, like, oh boy. But yeah, that and trying to finish up Dragon Quest XI before Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out, which won't happen because Dragon Quest XI is like a part-time job because these JRPGs need to be like 60 to 100 hours because somebody said it so at one point. It's like
crazy.
Like please, like
you're interested in Red Dead though. That's your big.
Yeah, I'm more interested in the multiplayer when it comes out in November. I'll still enjoy the story. I like the first Red Dead, and I prefer Red Dead over any of the Grand Theft Auto stuff. I'm not a huge like fan of that as much, but I'm really excited to see what Red Dead Redemption 2 holds because I think it's going to be really cool, and I'm really hopeful for it. It's like I wish, if all these things are true about a lot of working and stuff, I wish that they could have pushed it back because I don't need it like today. I'm fine. Like it's okay, but I'm hoping that it's something that's really like wow, like they really pushed our tech that we have now, which Rockstar is known to do, to the limit. I can't wait.
It's gonna be good. I hope. Probably.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think
a lot of weird details I probably didn't need in it.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. I'm like,
I was just like, okay, so when you skin an animal, you can see their exit wounds. I'm not sure if that's like critical for me to enjoy a game.
No, I don't.
If that meant less work for your workers, that would have been fine by me.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
but I'm excited. I'll probably play it in Christmas when I have time to play it.
Nice. I used to every Christmas when I come home from college, I would play the most recent Assassin's Creed from the week between Christmas and New Year's. It was always my favorite week of the year because I just sit there and play the newest Assassin's Creed. And I was like, this is probably how people who play like Madden feel. They're like, this is my yearly thing. I sit down and just like, and I'm like, I love that time.
That's my time too. It's just, that's when I just sit in my basement and play games. And that's it, period.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Well, I would love to talk to you all night, but we should get to the last segment of the show. Community feedback and questions. And we got some good questions here, specifically for you, Sophia, because when people heard you were going to be on, they're like, oh, Sophia? And I'm like, yeah. Because people know you. So this one comes in from our dear boy, Riley, who you know Riley, too.
Aw, Riley.
I love Riley so much. He asks, if you could make any franchise into a card game, which would it be? How would it play and why?
Oh my God. Thanks for the question, Riley. It's very nice of you. Well, since I play a lot of Overwatch with Riley, I'd have to say Overwatch. And the way it would be played is kind of like, so you can play as Overwatch or as, the bad guys. I'm kind of, for some reason... Talon. For some reason, I'm seeing it like chess, but that's not what we're talking about. Like, kind of like Magic, because you're like throwing out, people or characters instead of spells.
Yeah.
And so we kind of have the same mechanic of like, I'm gonna play a Mercy, and they're gonna attack Mercy. Then it'll be like, I'm gonna resurrect Soldier. You just beat 5 life out of him. So I'm gonna use that, and then that instead of like having a timer on it, I would probably be like, so that's gone now. I can't use that anymore.
Sure.
And so like that kind of mechanic maybe. So yeah, it's like I don't play a lot of card games. I play Magic. I have a Harry Potter game that I think is fun, but everybody else hates. For some reason, I love it. I'm like, let's play. And all my friends like, no. It's so broken because it is broken. It's almost impossible to win.
Oh,
and
great.
it's a children's game, so it doesn't make any sense.
Perfect.
It's way too difficult. But it's Harry Potter, so it's cool. But
sure.
Yeah, that would probably be what I would do, like a Magic kind of game, but with Overwatch versus Talon, and you're like a lead of them or whatever, and then you pick your characters, and that's how you play it, I guess.
Sweet, you're like the Nick Fury of Overwatch.
Yes.
Kind of, and like you're like.
I do curse a lot, so yes.
Yeah, that'd be so. Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll keep my eye, knock on wood. But yes. Yes, why not?
Yes, yeah. I guess for me, I just finished up the 3rd season of My Hero Academia. I don't know, you're not really into anime too much, because you're as more in the past, but I would base it around like Yu-Gi-Oh, because that's the only card game that I know, and I've actually been trying to rewatch some of the old Yu-Gi-Oh because that show is hilarious, and also I think the card game in the show is broken, because like there's so many times that someone just pulls out a move and you're like, what? Does everybody have access to that card? But I would basically make it based on the heroes of this show because that's what My Hero Academia is about. So it'd be like the heroes would be the monster cards, and then they have like equipment and stuff that they can equip, or you could have like traps and stuff that you can make them stronger, or you can make like little magic cards to like, destroy your enemies and things like that. And I would have it be like that, but it'd also be like Yu-Gi-Oh, where you have like the cool card thing around your arm, and you would have like holograms, and you could fight in the streets. That would be so cool. Like everyone would be into Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic if you could do that. You just like walk up on the street and be like, "Hey, you want a duel?" And be like,
That would be
like,
pretty cool.
that's what I would do. That's my dream, Sophia. One of my dreams.
It's a good dream.
Thank you. Missile Mage, our dear Missile Mage, asks us, what are your favorite moments in movies or video games that made you emotional? And I know you said a few of them tonight while we were talking about all this stuff.
I mean, what doesn't make me? I'm a big crier of movies and TV, and usually not when people are around. I will not cry, which is like it makes me seem very cold. Like we were watching Sophie's Choice and all these kinds of terrible movies in film class, and everybody was crying. I was sitting there like stone faced, like, yeah, it's a good movie, and they're like, why are you not crying? Do you have no heart? I mean, the beginning of Last of Us was something that made me cry.
Oh, sure.
Ironically, I don't really like the rest of that game. That game was just not. It was just not my thing. But yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, Lord of the Rings, when Theoden has a speech, I always cry or get emotional about it because it's just a beautiful scene. When Gandalf and the Rohirrim, that's like incredible. Always gets me teared up with the music. Oh God. Journey, the game also always. That's more like a good emotion. I feel very light. It's playing that game is like a meditation.
Yeah.
I had a games class at Santa Monica College, and one of my assignments was to teach someone who doesn't play games how to play a certain game or to have them play through a game. And so I had him to play through Journey. And it was so cool to sit there in the background and watch her just like trying to figure out where to go and what to do. And by the end, she was like, wow, that was like, and I was like, I know, it's just so weird. And you actually play with someone when you don't know. It's a really cool emotional thing where you just kind of sit and don't think about anything. It's just experience. And
you taught her how to play the game?
Yes. Or basically I just gave her the controller and said, this is how you jump, move, have fun. So we had 2 assignments where, our class was people who love games, obviously, and chose it, and people who were doing like a design degree that needed this class. So she said, find someone who doesn't play or someone who does play regarding on who you are. And then the first thing I did was teach her Overwatch. That was to sort of like have them learn something that's very hard. And then the second one was here, just find a game that will be easier, but they'll have to like play for a long time.
Sure.
So we went from like, DPS crazy Overwatch stuff to let's just have a relaxing journey. And yeah, she thought that was cool. So that's an emotional game for me. But yeah, I cry and get emotional over a lot of things. Overwatch shorts always get me.
Those are good.
That's the animation that I actually like, but that's probably because I'm so connected to the animation of the game.
No, I think that it's so good for everybody. They should make a movie. Make a movie, Blizzard, please. Like.
Oh yeah, they won't, but.
Yeah.
Or I mean, it's funny because I think I read somewhere that was their intention. They wanted to make a movie first, but then they found out they wanted to make a game instead.
Okay.
So. That's a job I would like. I actually saw there was an internship for writing at Blizzard.
You're so good at it.
I know, but it said you have to be able to work in America, so.
Well, maybe one day? I don't know.
One day it will happen. I'm working hard on it.
Yes.
But yes, emotionally, just a lot of stuff. Yeah. Like people reunions, people hugging makes me cry.
Sure. Yeah.
Music makes me cry. Yeah, those are probably my big ones. There are certain movies I can't watch, like Platoon.
Oh yeah,
Platoon is too much. Yeah, I could go on forever. What about you?
I'm sure I've said it on the show before, but I haven't told you. There's one moment in Return of the King that gets me every time, and I think it's because it shocked me. Because at the beginning of that movie, Aragorn has a moment with Gandalf, and he's like, "There's just like no way that Frodo's still alive, right?" He's like, "He can't be." And Gandalf's like, "What does your heart tell you?" And then he's like, that he's still alive, and they're both kind of at that moment. They're like, "Yeah, he's got to be right." And then at the end, or the Black Gate's opening, Sauron's like, "Aragorn," and he kind of looks, and you're like, Aragorn. He turns, and you're like, "Is he gonna go evil?" And then he just says, "For Frodo." Like he's done all of this for Frodo, and you're like, and then he runs by himself to charge everyone, and you're like, and the music's like, bwah, bwah, bwah,
such
bwah,
a good
scene.
Like,
it's the truest climax, but it's also just like tear jerking because you have, and then the hobbits run out after him, and then they get overtaken by everyone, and it's like it's all going. It's happening right now in this moment. It's just
even also just that's one I do too when Gandalf cries when he realizes Frodo dies or whatever, when it's in slow motion.
Oh sure, yeah, and it's like
he's one of those actors, that makes me cry.
Or he like sees the volcano going, he's like like.
Also, that's a funny thing. Hugh Jackman crying, I cry every time. I don't know why. Hugh Jackman and Matthew McConaughey, whenever they cry, I'm gonna cry.
Okay.
it's for some reason those two guys. The Fountain, which is one of my favorite movies. Every time Hugh Jackman cries, I'm like, Aah! Like even it's just him and Matthew McConaughey, regardless of situation, I'll just cry. I don't know. It's something they do as actors that just, or Chiwetel Ejiofor in 12 Years a Slave, same thing there. Okay. Every time he started tearing up, I was like, I'm feeling your pain.
Yeah, it's like
underrated actor. Holy crap. He was a good thing about Doctor Strange. I was like, hey.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Yeah, you're like, and I'm in for Doctor Strange too.
And hope he doesn't cry. Or I will cry.
But another one that I was brought up emotional, because I always think emotional makes you sad, not necessarily, but this was sad and happy. But Absu, you're talking about Journey. Absu was a game that felt it's looked kind of similar to Journey in some respects, as far as like, from a gameplay perspective. There's not like a ton of stuff going on, but like getting to dance with like a manatee underwater, but then also being sad when like your shark friend gets hurt. Like it was like, and they don't say anything. It's just like, here you are in this world. It's like, like
exactly. Absu. So good.
Absu is so good. All right, final question here.
Okay.
Comes in from our dear friend Nat on our Discord. Says, flip the script. What movies, and this is going to be hard for you, what movies do you think should have been or should be rebooted in animation, as 2D animation or just full CGI?
No movies. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Now let's go with it. Suicide Squad. Let's make it let's make it animated instead. Let's just start fresh and just forget that happened.
Yep, but
James Gunn. Yep. James Gunn, make it animated. Either that or like sci-fi. I think sci-fi movies would benefit from that. Yeah, even like Valerian that we talked about. Like,
oh my god, Valerian.
That would be cool. Or but I mean, when I see it in my head, I see it, cartoon, not like CGI.
Yeah.
Not Pixar-y. I see it more actual classic. Old school drawings. I like drawings.
Me too.
Yeah, totally so that would probably be even like, that would be cool, I think. But not a big fan, so.
Okay, fair enough. I would probably say, I was starting to think about movies I kind of like but could be better. I think Warcraft came out recently. Like, put Warcraft back into like 2D animation.
Yeah.
Oh boy, people would be like, this is incredible. Like, and Blizzard could do it. Like, Blizzard just... You can do it, Blizzard. I know you can. And also,
I think hire me.
Yes, please hire Sofia. I might know a guy who knows a guy. I know people who are like on the fringes of Blizzard, but I have not yet gotten my. Once I get in there for an interview, Sofia, I'll be like, have you heard of my friend Sofia? This is Sofia.
She speaks 5 languages. Please hire her.
Yes, she's very fluent. Also, and she knows a lot about Overwatch. Like a lot.
Too much. I got pop figures everywhere. It's a problem. It's such a problem. I saw the new Halloween ones come out and I'm like, I can't. I have no more space.
Yeah, that's okay. You're limiting yourself. That's a good thing, I think.
For now.
Until you get a bigger space. Or once you have an office at Blizzard, you could just be like,
I just come the first day with like 1,000 pop figures. Like, I like you guys. And they're like, oh, yeah, no shit.
With a wheelbarrow just walking in. You're like,
I mean, I have like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I have 10 different types of figures.
They're like, Sofia, where do you want your paychecks to go? And you're like, can we just send them right back into the system?
Or just send them to Funko Pop?
Yeah, exactly. Just send me more of this this stuff. This would be great. I would love it.
I don't have to Orisa. Could you just send me that and I'll be fine?
But thank you everybody who wrote in questions for us. We really do appreciate it. If you guys ever have a question for me, you can just tweet the hashtag Critical Podcast. You can tweet at our official account, which is at GoCritical, the capital G and a capital C, or you can tweet at me personally. I'm at JimmyGood013. But if you want to tweet at Sofia, just tweet how great she is, or maybe if you have an in over at Blizzard Entertainment for her, where can people find you?
At it's Sofia H. So at it's Sophia H. So it's not it's yeah. It's Sophia H. Sophia with an F. SophiaHarris.com is my website that you will find on my Twitter. That's pretty. My Instagram is super boring, so I'm not even gonna. I do nothing there. I post a picture like every 5 months, and it's just like, here's a view. It's boring. So yeah, that's where you find me. That's what I usually do. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm not. I guest on certain shows from time to time, but that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you got to be on ours because I know, like I said, we've been talking about it for a long time, and I was like, finally.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. So much fun to talk to you.
Well, good. I'm glad. Well, so much fun to talk to you too. I hope we can have you on again, in the future here, because we can hear more about. And then one day it'll be great because I'll be like, I knew you when you weren't working at Blizzard. And then, or you'll be like, yeah, I'm a commentator for esports now. I'll be like, I know her.
Oh wow, that's
and I'll wave at you, and you'll be like.
No, I wouldn't. No, never.
No, I think that's if any of those things are aspirations for you, though, I think there's a possibility. Why this is the land of opportunity.
That's what they say. It's real hard though, but
it is hard. It is hard.
I'm fighting for it. It'll happen.
Well, you have the support of the Legion now, which I have to do my shameless plugging for myself now. If you want to support the show, consider checking out Spreadshirt.com, or you can go and donate over at Patreon.com/criticalreviews. I want to thank our lovely people who do our theme music here. This is Daleb, and for doing all the art here, Your Evers. Go check them out as well. But I think that pretty much does it for the show this week. Again, Sophia, thank you so much for being on. It was a true pleasure. I think, honestly, this might be the longest show we've ever done.
Oh my God.
You've done it.
We like to talk. Woo!
We're talkers, yeah. And the thing is, like, I know you through like the Easy Allies and through like Ian. So it's like, if Ian were to have been on here, I think I could have walked away for like an hour. It would have still been a good show because you guys would have been talking, and then I would have been like, what did I miss? What did I miss?
Oh yeah. Love to talk.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Well, anyway, thank you again so much for being on, and for everybody else who's watching, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. And just remember to adapt and overcome.